subordinate, then? Black Zetsu asked. Uchiha Madara had a gloomy face and did not answer. On a new day, the Konoha village, which had been silent for a night, began to make noise again. The topic of yesterday has not yet passed, but it has become more and more intense. It seems that everyone is waiting for the result, waiting for the Uchiha group to decide how to deal with Uchiha Makoto. Uchiha Makoto is just a small person and shouldn't cause such a big stir, but almost all Konoha ninjas know that Makoto almost married the legendary Konoha ninja Hangguang. After Hangguang passed away, Hangguang's old past also took care of Makoto, and the most important person among them, the current captain of Konoha Anbu, Hatake Taishuo. Entered Anbu. He wanted to hide his identity, but Hatake Taishuo didn't. At that time, he entered Anbu at a bad time. White Fang died too suddenly, and his strength was too strong. If he was arranged to feign death, it would be very troublesome and prone to loopholes. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen simply did not let Hatake Taishuo hide his identity, but did not directly say that Hatake Taishuo was the captain of Anbu. However, Hatake Taishuo's swordsmanship is inherited from Hangguang, with or without a mask. As long as he has shot, you can see who he is. Will Hatake Taishuo intervene in this matter? Or, will the Uchiha family take into account the influence and let Uchiha Makoto go? The gathering place of the Uchiha tribe, in the reception hall not far from the prison. Why do you have to kill her? Why, she's just a small character. If you didn't force her repeatedly. If you didn't force her, it wouldn't have happened yesterday. Uchiha Fugaku was a little hysterical, his eyes were heavy, and his eyes were full of yuhi. Uchiha Shangyan was sitting beside her with a sad expression and said nothing. Fugaku and his wife appeared in the hall, along with 6 others, including several elders of the Uchiha tribe, the commander of the Internal Affairs Force, and the captain of the police force. They are the power core of the Uchiha clan, all of them over 50 years old. The crowd had been arguing all night, and this group of people kept putting pressure on Fugaku. After all, Fugaku was the patriarch. If they couldn't convince Fugaku, force Fugaku to submit, or kill Uchiha Makoto directly, Sarutobi Hiruzen could watch. Fugaku, you should understand that although Uchiha Makoto is a small person, she represents Uchiha Leiyang. Although Leiyang died, some people in the clan did not return to their hearts. Those ninjas who were neutral at the beginning are still neutral. It's all because of Uchiha Makoto. They also treat Uchiha Makoto as the eldest lady, and even secretly hate us. Makoto won't die, there will be no peace in the clan. The speaker is nearly 60 years old, named Uchiha Zanglin, a contemporary elder of the Uchiha clan, a core figure of the Wudo faction within the Uchiha clan. He is the cousin of Uchiha Fugaku and the cousin of Uchiha Yokoyama. Now, everyone has opened the skylight to speak brightly. Don't talk about hurting people at all, just discuss whether to kill Uchiha Makoto. Anyway, it's all excuses, everyone knows it well. You can see it from above. Uchiha Fugaku pointed to the sky. Executing Makoto will not benefit as Uchiha at all. In the affairs of our Uchiha tribe, even Sarutobi Hiruzen can't control it. Another elder said, showing no respect for Sarutobi Hiruzen in his words. Just then, a Uchiha ninja hurried through the door. Patriarch, Lord Orochimaru is here. Chapter 0893_Ming grab. Everyone in the room was stunned. Orochimaru came to visit. This is something that has never happened before. Although they are all Konoha ninjas, they can't see when they look up, but Orochimaru seems to have never visited the Uchiha clan. As Sarutobi Hiruzen's most favorite direct disciple, Orochimaru has always had a detached status in Konoha existence. There is no need to cling to anything, and Orochimaru doesn't like to make friends, let alone visit the Uchiha tribe. Even if he encounters the Uchiha high-level people by chance on the street, he never speaks. Cough. Uchiha Fugaku coughed lightly, tidied up his collar. Orochimaru came to visit, and naturally he personally came to receive it. No one dares to underestimate Orochimaru. Compared with identity, Today's Orochimaru is even more important than the entire Uchiha clan, because Orochimaru is one of the candidates for the next generation of Hokage, and the other candidate is Namikaze Minato, who is named Shining. If Sarutobi Hiruzen is the emperor, then Orochimaru and Namikaze Minato are both crown princes. At present, Sarutobi Hiruzen has deeply suspected Orochimaru, but this matter, even Konoha executives do not know. The only person who knows the insider is Sarutobi Hiruzen himself, only Anbu Captain Hatake Taishuo and Root Organization leader Musashi. Therefore, the outside world still believes that Orochimaru may become the fourth Hokage in the future. Let's talk about it later. Uchiha Fugaku said heavily, and walked out. At this time, outside the open hall door, the cold breath blew into the room with the wind, and Orochimaru appeared out of thin air. Fugaku stopped immediately. It was not etiquette for Orochimaru to break in directly, but Orochimaru had already greeted him, so Fugaku naturally couldn't say anything. In the hall, everyone else stood up when they saw Orochimaru coming. I don't know if Orochimaru-sama is visiting today because he wants to. Fugaku asked politely with a smile. Where's Uchiha Makoto? Orochimaru asked coldly, very directly. Fugaku's face changed, and the elders of Uchiha looked at each other. What do you mean? Makoto Orochimaru-sama should know what happened yesterday. Makoto violated the clan rules. We are discussing how to deal with it, so. I want to see Uchiha Makoto. Orochimaru interrupted Fugaku. Fugaku hesitated, and his face became very ugly. Although he knew Orochimaru's character, he was still extremely uncomfortable. Orochimaru didn't look like a visit at all, but questioned, showing a very strong performance. A problem? Orochimaru asked. It's not a big problem to meet you. Fugaku smiled reluctantly. It's just that Makoto is now guilty, I'm afraid. I want to see her. Orochimaru's face sank, immediately. If the Fugaku chief doesn't agree, I can go and apply to Lord Hokage for the right to visit. Orochimaru was very strong, even threatening, to suppress people. Fugaku stopped laughing. As the Uchiha clan chief, Orochimaru really gave him no face at all. It's okay to take a look. The elder Uchiha Zanglan suddenly stood up and said with a friendly smile, Sir Orochimaru, please. After speaking, he walked out the door and led the way for Orochimaru, without even looking at Fugaku's face. He's better than Fugaku. Fugaku doesn't know Orochimaru's purpose and is worried, while Uchiha Zanglan doesn't care, and even wants to make friends with Orochimaru through today's affairs. And Uchiha Zanglan thinks, Orochimaru is definitely not at ease when he sees Makoto. First of all, Orochimaru can't be here to excuse Makoto, because for many years, Orochimaru has never had a relationship with Uchiha Makoto. Second, Orochimaru is Tsunade's best friend, and Tsunade is Hengwang's wife. From Tsunade's point of view, this all-female ninjas who have an ambiguous relationship with Hengwang should be damned. The dimly lit hut, the restless Uchiha Makoto didn't sleep until the second half of the night, and he hadn't woken up yet. Squeak. The harsh sound of the door opening awakened Uchiha Makoto. Makoto jumped up like a frightened bunny, holding the little black cat in his arms, leaning against the wall to look at the door. Uchiha Zanglan, the elder who hated her the most, and Makoto was surprised by the people who came after Orochimaru. There are also figures outside the door, Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Shangyan, and all the Uchiha high-level officials, all followed and stopped outside the door. Come here. Orochimaru beckoned to Makoto. Makoto was nervous and panicked. He hesitated while standing by the wall. Seeing Orochimaru's cold eyes, he lowered his head and walked slowly to Orochimaru. Follow me, Orochimaru said coldly, then turned around and walked out. He wanted to take Uchiha Makoto out of here. Everyone including Makoto was stunned. Makoto was terrified at first, and then the figure of the man flashed in his mind, and then he understood everything. It's cold light. It must be him. He made Orochimaru come. Orochimaru came to Luhan that day, and Makoto saw it. She knew that Orochimaru and Luhan had an inexplicable relationship now. After Fugaku and his wife were stunned, all eyes lit up with joy. They don't know the inside story, but they feel that Orochimaru is here to save Makoto. That's the way. Too overbearing. This is a robbery. Makoto lowered his head and took 2 quick steps, closely following Orochimaru. Uchiha Zhanglan and other senior Uchiha leaders were all in a hurry. Zhanglan stopped in front of Orochimaru in a flash and said eagerly, "Lord Orochimaru, what do you mean? Uchiha Makoto is a repeat offender of our Uchiha tribe, you can't take her away." "I'll take her to see Lord Hokage," Orochimaru said coldly. "Lord Hokage has ordered, this matter is within our Uchiha clan." Uchiha said with a black face, "Orochimaru, even you can't interfere." "Am I right?" "It's about me," Orochimaru said. Everyone around was stunned again. Is it related to Orochimaru? Can it matter? Orochimaru was there yesterday and didn't say anything, but now he's talking about. Aren't you talking nonsense with your eyes open? I don't know, what does it matter? Uchiha Zhanglan's face was uncertain. "Cat, I gave it to Uchiha Makoto," Orochimaru said coldly. Orochimaru just finished speaking, whoosh. The shadow cat appeared on top of Orochimaru's head out of thin air, and cooperated very well. Scratching Orochimaru's hair. Chapter 0894_Dare to do it. Was a very strange silence inside and outside the door. Everyone looked at each other. Fugaku and his wife also looked at each other. Strange thoughts popped up in everyone's heart. Is the cat Orochimaru? Orochimaru gave to Makoto. What's the situation? Uchiha Zhanglan was even stunned, with a look of, I don't believe it, I don't believe it, and I don't believe it if I kill him. However, facts speak louder than words. The time-space ninja shadow cat with the best fighting power appeared on Orochimaru's head. It not only scratched Orochimaru's hair, but also jumped twice on top of Orochimaru's head, with its tail wagging. It was a joy. Apparently the cat is very close to Orochimaru. Otherwise it would be impossible to do so. The corners of Orochimaru's mouth were twitching, very obscure. The shadow cat's behavior had completely destroyed his aloof image. It was simply. He endured it. Makoto's execution was that the dozen or so Uchiha ninjas had one eye abolished, and everything else was negotiable. Only the fact that a dozen Uchiha ninjas were maimed was a foregone conclusion and could not be changed. If the cat belongs to Makoto, Makoto must be held responsible. But if the cat isn't Makoto's, this is trouble finding Orochimaru. Hold Orochimaru accountable. It really has to be Hokage to decide this. Orochimaru is not only a direct disciple of Sarutobi Hiruzen, but also one of the legendary Sannin. He ranks in the top 5 in Konoha village. The top 5 ninjas in Konoha village are roughly Sarutobi Hiruzen, Namikaze Minato, Hatake Teishuo, Jiraiya and Orochimaru. These 5 people, they have this very intricate interpersonal relationship. Namikaze Minato is Jiraiya's disciple. Jiraiya and Orochimaru are close friends. Sarutobi Hiruzen is Jiraiya and Orochimaru's teacher. Hatake Teishuo is Hengguang's disciple, and Hengguang's wife Tsunade and Jiraiya Orochimaru are collectively called Sannin. It can be said that the Uchiha tribe cannot move Orochimaru. Even, he didn't dare to move at all. Get out of the way, Orochimaru said coldly, interrupting everyone's thoughts. Uchiha Zhanglan stood in front of Orochimaru, in a dilemma, and his face became very exciting. If he moved away like this, where would the faces of the Uchiha clan go? Of course this is secondary, mainly, Makoto must die. It can be taken away by Orochimaru, and it is probably impossible to die. The life and death of Makoto is related to whether the Uchiha martial arts faction can integrate the tribe and twist the tribe into a single rope. This is no longer a matter of life and death. Lord Orochimaru, Uchiha Zhanglan bit Kiba and raised his voice. Even if the cat is yours, you can just take it away. We don't hold you accountable, but Uchiha Makoto. Everything is because of her. violating clan rules, she must be punished. Still quite reasonable. Uchiha Zanglan has actually become soft. I can't afford to offend you, you just leave, we will not pursue anything, but Uchiha Makoto, as a Uchiha clan ninja, must abide by the clan rules, and if you violate it, you will be punished. Get out of the way. Orochimaru repeated the previous two words. Uchiha Zanglan's face changed suddenly. No face at all. Lord Orochimaru, this is the Uchiha clan. I see. Before Uchiha Zanglan finished speaking, Orochimaru suddenly moved, directly crashing into Uchiha Zanglan's arms, and kicked Zanglan's abdomen with a quick kick. Bang _. Zanglan flew out like a cannonball, flew out the door, and smashed through the wall of the corridor, carrying a large amount of sawdust, directly smashing a hole in the house, and flying into the small square outside. There are some Uchiha ninjas in the small square. When I heard the movement, I thought something was wrong. I took a closer look. Isn't this the great elder who flew out? All were amazed. Inside and out, all the Uchiha ninjas looked like they were standing there. Makoto's body was stiff, and he felt that his brain circuits were not enough. Orochimaru dares to do it. I said it all, get out of the way. Orochimaru said coldly, and glanced behind him again, then continued to walk out, follow me. Orochimaru walked into the corridor, and walked out directly through the big hole in the corridor wall, with Uchiha Makoto, swaggering out. The pace was neither fast nor slow. The confused senior Uchiha finally reacted. After looking at each other, the crowd erupted and cursed. Damn it, what are you doing? Orochimaru, how dare you? Do you really think my Uchiha clan is nobody? The mud bodhisattva still has 3 points of anger. The elder of his own family was beaten in the clan, and no one could bear it. However, scolding people is really weak. No one dares to attack Orochimaru first. No one dares to stand in front of Orochimaru. All followed Orochimaru, looking like they were going to fight or kill, that's all. The movement was loud, and more Uchiha ninjas came. All the senior Uchiha leaders are winking at Fugaku. They dare not do anything to Orochimaru. It is a matter of identity, but Fugaku is different. Fugaku is the patriarch. He represents the entire Uchiha clan. He ordered the action. Even if the matter reaches Sarutobi Hiruzen, it will be Orochimaru and the entire family. The contradictions of the Uchiha tribe. Fugaku looked bitter and hated, looked struggling, and suddenly said, "Good you Orochimaru, you are bold." Damn it. All the Konoha executives were overjoyed. The patriarch said everything is easy to say, ready to do it. Injure our chief elder, damn it. Let's go to the Hokage building and let Lord Hokage judge, bastard. Fugaku said again. All the Uchiha senior executives all looked at Uchiha Fugaku in unison, showing disbelief. Fugaku ignored these glances and escorted Orochimaru out of the Uchiha mansion all the way, and went straight to the Hokage building with Orochimaru and Uchiha Makoto. After about half an hour, word spread throughout Konoha. News. Orochimaru broke into the Uchiha clan alone to save Uchiha Makoto, injured the chief elder of the Uchiha clan, and forcibly took Uchiha Makoto away. It is said that the time-space ninja belonged to Orochimaru, who gave it to Uchiha Makoto. This seems to be a love story. In the busy market noodle restaurant, Lu Han, who had dressed up and was eating noodles, heard the discussion at the next table, and spat out all of his face. Orochimaru did this. Fuck. Chapter-281-300 How many times did you stab him? Hokage building, Hokage office. Uchiha Fugaku is emotional and is berating Orochimaru's atrocities to Sarutobi Hiruzen, describing Orochimaru as a ruthless and inhuman bastard. A look like Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't call the shots, and he crashed to death on the desk. Sarutobi Hiruzen has a headache. The matter of Uchiha Makoto is just a small matter for him, very small, very small. As a Hokage, he has to deal with major wars involving hundreds of lives and deaths every day. In contrast, the Uchiha clan's rubbish things, naturally nothing. It's not even as important as that super rare time-space ninja. But when Orochimaru made such a fuss, things turned sour. The candidate for the position of Hokage, the direct disciple of contemporary Hokage, Orochimaru, who ranks among the top in Konoha's strength, and one of the two top Konoha tribes, the Konoha police force is tough. If this matter is not handled properly, there will be a big mess. What kind of temper Orochimaru is, what kind of virtue the Uchiha people have, Sarutobi Hiruzen is very clear. Okay, I understand. Sarutobi Hiruzen soothed the excited Uchiha Fugaku, then looked at Orochimaru. His expression became serious. What do you have to say? First, I'm very reasonable. Orochimaru said coldly. I have already explained the situation. The cat is mine, the one who hurts is the cat. I hoped to come to the teacher to make a decision, but they stopped me. Second, I think you should be very clear about why those people insisted on killing Uchiha Makoto. Third, I thought they would take this matter lightly, but I didn't expect. Fortunately, they didn't do anything to Uchiha Makoto, otherwise, it would not hurt people so much. Simple. How can it not hurt people? Murder, of course. Orochimaru makes no secret of his selfishness, that is, to protect Uchiha Makoto. Sarutobi Hiruzen was furious and slapped the table. Damn. Orochimaru was the first to threaten to kill his own people in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Right or wrong, I think you know better than me, teacher. Orochimaru said coldly, with a completely, I'm like this, what do you like, look. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Orochimaru for a while, then sat down slowly and gently supported the side of his head. Headache. Can he punish Orochimaru severely? This kind of shit doesn't matter. After all, it was wounded, and no one died. Compared with Orochimaru's indiscriminate killing of innocent people during the mission, this is really nothing. But if you don't deal with it, the Uchiha clan can't talk about it. As for Uchiha Makoto, Sarutobi Hiruzen turned his gaze to Uchiha Makoto, who was holding the little black cat with his head down, and looked at Orochimaru again, thoughtfully. The cat is yours, Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. Orochimaru responded with a nasal voice. Where did it come from? Accidental gain. Why give to Uchiha Makoto? The black cat is a female, this is a male, and she is in foster care. The reason Orochimaru is looking for is awkward, but there seems to be nothing wrong with it. The breeding of advanced ninja beasts has always been a problem in the ninja world. Crawling on top of Orochimaru's head was already extremely dissatisfied, meowing twice, and scratching Orochimaru's hair. Orochimaru's mouth twitched. Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't believe in Orochimaru's reasons. If nothing else, why is he so protective of Uchiha Makoto? Uchiha Fugaku didn't say a word. He finished all the performances, and the rest will be judged by Sarutobi Hiruzen. He has already reprimanded Orochimaru, explaining the grievances of the Uchiha tribe, and the problem is naturally left to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen pondered for a while, then asked about the details of yesterday. Makoto shot because his beloved little black cat was going to be killed, and the shadow cat wounded to protect Makoto. All the triggers came from Uchiha's wrong decision to kill the crazy black cat. The perpetrator was the shadow cat, but the cat belonged to Orochimaru. Another extremely precious time-space ninja beast. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen is very aware of the maliciousness of the Uchiha high-level officials towards Makoto. This is also the result of his laissez-faire. Otherwise, it is impossible for so many Uchiha ninjas to be forced to death. To be honest, even if Uchiha Makoto really died, Sarutobi Hiruzen would not care about it. But now, Orochimaru and Uchiha Makoto seem to. There is a reason for this. At that time, the Uchiha clan's internal affairs troops handled the ninja beasts inappropriately. Uchiha Makoto was impatient and impulsive, and this, the purple cat, is also eager to protect the master, so it's all wrong. Alas. Sarutobi Hiruzen began to talk to the mud, and paused. That's it, Uchiha Makoto. Lord Hokage. Makoto responded quickly. You pay 30 million taels to compensate those injured ninjas, and you yourself, excommunicated from the Uchiha clan, leave. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Uchiha Fugaku again. Fugaku, the dozen or so wounded ninjas, let them retire permanently. Quote. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not seek advice, it was his decision. Makoto's huge fortune is actually more than 30 million taels. Sarutobi Hiruzen obviously knows that, so he is so accurate. And permanent retirement. This is a kind of reward. You don't need to go to the battlefield, you don't need to quest, and there are subsidies similar to pensions paid on time. During the war, unless the village of Konoha is destroyed, there will be no more danger. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru again. His eyes were extremely dissatisfied. He snorted coldly, raised his hand and said, "Go away." Orochimaru turned around and left. It's up. Makoto lost money and left the Uchiha clan and became a clanless ninja. The injured ninja of the Uchiha clan officially retired and received an additional compensation of 30 million taels, while Orochimaru, without any punishment. Uchiha Fugaku was extremely shocked, because Orochimaru's weight in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart was far beyond his imagination. Outside the Hokage building. In the woods. Luhan was squatting on the tree, holding a black kunai in his hand, and was grinding his nails back and forth. His face was gloomy, staring at the main entrance of the Hokage building, sometimes showing the expression of biting kiba and gnashing his teeth. Fuck. Let Orochimaru do it. It turned out to be a scandal. Luhan was already suspicious of Orochimaru's motives because of his arrogance in front of Makoto. He was considering whether to stab him a few times when Orochimaru came out. Chapter 0896_so bad. Luhan felt very upset. Although he made Orochimaru do anything he could, this method was too shameless. It's just a clean, fresh and refreshing little Makoto, stained by the dirty and shameless Orochimaru. People finally came out. Orochimaru walked in the front with a cat on his head, Uchiha Makoto was behind with a cat in his arms, and Uchiha Fugaku was 5 or 6 meters behind and walked at the end. Three parted ways after they left the Hokage building, and Uchiha Fugaku snorted heavily at Orochimaru. Orochimaru didn't notice Luhan, so he took Uchiha Makoto across the small square, walked up the corridor, and headed towards the bustling city. Luhan followed in secret. Orochimaru took Uchiha Makoto through the downtown street, and the public was swaggering. Luhan Kiba was itching with anger. Are you an exhibition? The soul of the Konoha ninja 8 trigrams in the downtown area was already burning. Although he didn't dare to say anything in front of Orochimaru, Orochimaru walked over with Makoto, and they immediately started talking like a frying pan. Nothing more than, how about Makoto and Orochimaru in secret? How about Orochimaru's vision? How about the cat? How about Makoto finding a backer? And so on. Orochimaru didn't seem to hear anything. So did Makoto, who kept his head down. She has listened to gossip a lot. How many years? She is used to it. Orochimaru took Makoto around to exhibit, and then walked into the forest path. It didn't go far, and there was no one around. Orochimaru quickly shot and grabbed the top of his head, with murderous aura. Orochimaru had enough. The shadow cat disappeared with a swish. Luhan appeared behind the two of them out of thin air. Orochimaru felt it. Looking back, Makoto didn't know what was going on. He stopped and looked at Orochimaru nervously. Luhan had to cough lightly to show his existence. Makoto turned around abruptly, and then burst into tears, rushing into Luhan's arms. Cold, Makoto sobbed in Luhan's arms. The little black cat was sandwiched between the two of them, struggling to climb out, meowing and jumping to the ground. The shadow cat suddenly appeared, not looking for Luhan, but pounced on the little black cat, scratching and biting and fighting with the little black cat. In fact, it's just one beating the cat and the other being beaten. The little black cat doesn't dare to fight back at all. She is very afraid of the shadow cat now. She is mad because of the demonic illusion of the shadow cat. The two kittens scratched and tumbled into the grass. Luhan comforted Makoto, and didn't raise his head until Makoto stopped crying and looked at Orochimaru. Orochimaru still looked cold and looked at Luhan. Kai. Kulu broke the sky, Luhan suddenly shot, holding the kunai stab at Orochimaru. Orochimaru was suddenly startled, and retreated more than 10 meters, and then he felt that something was wrong, because Luhan did not take the shot with all his strength, and although Luhan had murderous intent, he did not want to kill, but his face looked extremely unhappy. Angry. What do you mean? Orochimaru asked. Come on, come here, let me stab me, it won't kill anyone, right? I believe you understand my mood. I am very angry. When I'm angry, I will lose my mind, and if I don't get my mind, I won't eat well and sleep well. No, come, come. Let me understand. Luhan's tone was indescribably strange. Why? Orochimaru asked very seriously. He seemed to have really started to consider whether or not to let Hongguang stab him. Is this part of his life? Luhan stood up a lot at once, put his arms around Makoto's shoulders, gestured at Kulu, pointed at Makoto, then at himself, and said, mine. Orochimaru's expression froze, and with his wisdom, he could immediately think of the reason, but this guy is really nervousness. Orochimaru gave Luhan an accurate comment, then turned around and left. He felt some regrets in his heart, and felt that the agreement of 3 years of service seemed to be a mistake, because the object of this service seemed to have a brain problem. At this time, Orochimaru is not close to women, he is obsessed with research, and hopes for immortality, so it is impossible for him and Uchiha Makoto, not to mention, he kidnapped Makoto a few days ago, and uses Makoto as an experiment. It's so frustrating, Luhan muttered and put away his kunai. In fact, he only found out today that he really has such feelings for Uchiha Makoto. He doesn't seem to be able to accept Makoto as someone else's lover, even if it's just a scandal. The previous rumors were rumors after all, and anyone with a discerning eye knew what was true or false, but this time is different. I am afraid that even Sarutobi Hiruzen will believe that Orochimaru and Makoto are really seeing something. Uchiha Makoto's mouth, who was hugged by Luhan, were sweet, and tears began to flow again. Finally, did you finally wait? ... About Uchiha Makoto has finally passed. The Uchiha clan suffered losses and were compensated. The dozen or so ninjas officially retired, which is considered a good result. Although they lost face, mainly because the chief elder was beaten by Orochimaru, they did not dare to face Sarutobi Hiruzen after all. Confrontation, Sarutobi Hiruzen's protection of Orochimaru makes them deeply afraid. Uchiha Makoto officially broke away from the Uchiha clan and left all the money to the Uchiha clan. For the Uchiha clan executives, this is a relatively satisfactory result. Makoto is no longer a Uchiha clan, there are no dissidents, and she also brings taking away Lei Yang's influence, speaking of it, is almost the same as killing her. You know, once the ninja leaves the clan, there is no possibility of going back. Have to admit that although Sarutobi Hiruzen favored Orochimaru in the handling of this matter, it was relatively satisfactory to all parties, especially for Makoto to keep the money and get out of the tribe's disposal, which was wonderful. Normal tribes don't allow their tribesmen to leave, and Hokage can't force it, but Makoto is different. The Uchiha tribe's senior officials want her to go away and disappear completely. Makoto moved to a new residence, away from the Uchiha clan, still living alone in the woods. The advantage of living alone is that it is convenient for Luhan to live under the same roof with her. So, another 5 days passed. Konoha 47 year end of February. Orochimaru sent information to Luhan, the small news attached to the emergency information of the country of Vortex 2 days ago. Tsunade appeared in a casino in the country of Vortex. Chapter 0897 go straight to the country of the Vortex. The timeliness of Tsunade's whereabouts is very short, because Tsunade lives in no fixed place, and can even be described as elusive. For a period of time, he may be in the land of water, and within half a month, he may be in the land of thunder. Orochimaru collected information about Tsunade for Luhan. The previous information was generally useless, and only recent information was effective. The country of the vortex. Yihai village. Heiyazi gambling house. The quiet courtyard. Luhan and Orochimaru stood in front of the wooden house. Luhan held a small scroll in his hand and read the information above. The one who sent the information back was Konoha's Anbu spy, code-named Mitsukoshi, and Mitsukoshi was in the vortex. Tsunade was originally tasked with investigating the infiltration of Kurigakure villages into villages in Tsunade, and the discovery of Tsunade was purely accidental. Tsunade is well known in the ninja world, almost everyone knows it, and has seen many, but in the mortal world, although Tsunade has some reputation, very few people know her. Gamble again. The place where Tsunade appeared this time is called Black Masako Casino, and the rest. There is no more detailed content. Mitsukoshi sent the information back to Konoha, not for Tsunade at all. There was information about Tsunade, and it was written in passing. Although Tsunade had a fight with Sarutobi Hiruzen and left Anbu, it was not characterized as missing nin. According to past information, Tsunade won't stay in the first place for too long. Orochimaru said suddenly, at most half a month, she may not leave, but she will definitely hide or go to other things. There is no one else by her side. Luhan asked with a frown. There should be talents, Luhan and Tsunade's children, and Hyuga Luoning. It didn't say in the information. Orochimaru can only say that. This is the information that came back incidentally, whether there is or not, no one knows if Mitsukoshi does not write it. Meow meow, meow meow, meow. The black kitten jumped up the fence from the outside, and then the shadow cat also jumped up, two kittens meowing, chasing and running towards the wooden house. The little black cat looked panicked, and didn't know why, annoyed shadow cat again. At lunchtime, they came back to eat. In the past few days, according to Luhan's request, the little black cat brought the shadow cat to get acquainted with the environment of Konoha village. Because Konoha ninjas all know that the cat belongs to Orochimaru, the shadow cat can move freely in the Konoha village. Luhan has officially handed over the task of tracking Nohara Rin to the shadow cat, and the little black cat cooperates, so these days, the two of them are always missing, and they will come back when they have dinner. Know who invited them to eat? That's right. Orochimaru saw the shadow cat and seemed to suddenly think of something, and said, Namikaze Minato came to me the day before yesterday, hoping I could lend the shadow to it. Yesterday, Jiraiya also came to me and said the same thing. Quote. Luhan glanced at Orochimaru, then looked at the scroll again. What do you say? Naturally I disagree. Namikaze Minato has bad intentions. He is very interested in time-space ninja beasts. Orochimaru said coldly. Namikaze Minato is going to kidnap the shadow cat. Normally no one would dare to do this, not even Sarutobi Hiruzen. Orochimaru's temper is really scary. But Namikaze Minato's identity is somewhat special. He is a disciple of Jiraiya, and Jiraiya is Orochimaru's best friend. The two have fought side by side many times from birth to death. The relationship is extremely strong. Both are direct disciples of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Therefore, Orochimaru is the teacher of Namikaze Minato. So, as the nephew of the nephew, Namikaze Minato, who is desperately trying to steal the ninja beast of the uncle, and Jiraiya shamelessly reconcile it, it is not impossible. And with Orochimaru's temperament, if he really thinks the shadow cat is suitable for Namikaze Minato, it is estimated that he will give it. Unfortunately, the cat is not his. It's time to eat. Uchiha Makoto's greeting sounded from inside the wooden house. Together, Luhan put away the scroll and tilted his head at Orochimaru. Seeing that Orochimaru did not mean to refuse, he entered the room. Lunch. In the big hall, there are 3 people and 2 beasts at the round table. In fact, the shadow cat doesn't like to eat with people, but the little black cat always eats with them. It seemed that he was jealous, so he also ate it. It was quiet for lunch. Orochimaru didn't say a word, he was so cold. Luhan was thinking about Tsunade. After this meal, he was going to leave Konoha village. It would take 2 days to get to the country of Vortex. He went to the place called Yihai village. To Tsunade, "Can I see my son? It's a boy, 9 years old this year, named Lee." Luhan has no surname in this world. As a visitor from another world, he originally had a surname, but no one knew that if the child was given a surname, it should be called Lu Li. I don't know what kind of character he is, what kind of talent he is. In this regard, Konoha has no accurate information, but there are a lot of rumors. After all, he is the son of Han Guang, and it is said that when he was born, there was a lot of wind and rain, and the sky was full of sunshine. I am afraid some people believe it. After dinner, Luhan explained something to Orochimaru again, and Orochimaru left, and the 2 kittens disappeared. Kitchen, Makoto is doing the dishes. Luhan walked behind Makoto, wrapped his arms around Makoto's waist from behind, and put his chin on Makoto's shoulder. Makoto's body suddenly froze. His face was Yuhi, and he looked very shy, because Luhan will be going out these nights. Resurrection of the White Fang clan, so the 2 haven't had too much intimacy yet. "I'm leaving," Luhan said softly. Makoto Yuhi's face turned white and his body was very stiff. "Tsunade is in the country of Vortex, I'm going to find her." Luhan said again, "I'll be back." Makoto's body softened again, looking relieved. She had misunderstood just now, thinking that Luhan was really going to leave. If he was looking for Tsunade, Makoto would understand very well, because Tsunade is Luhan's wife. Makoto turned around suddenly, put the probe on Luhan's lips, lowered his head for a while, and whispered, "Wait for you." This afternoon, Luhan secretly left Konoha village alone and went straight to the country of Vortex. Chapter 0898-Yihai village. Konoha 47th year, early March. Uzushiogakure was destroyed in the early days of the Second Ninja World War, and no new ninja village appeared in the country of the Vortex. The country of the Vortex at this time was a purely mortal world. 15 years have passed since the beginning of World War II. The ruling structure of the Kingdom of Vortex has long been reshuffled. After the initial cruelty, the Kingdom of Vortex has formed a new order. If a small village with only a few dozen households is considered a village, then the Kingdom of Vortex is now there are hundreds of villages in the territory. 1 village per 10 miles is a normal living structure in the mortal world. However, most of the villages in the country of Vortex are in coastal areas and are fishing villages. At present, there is no clear ruler in the country of Vortex, and many mortal villages are not under each other. The village chief is the largest, and those who can serve as village chiefs are mostly people with high morals and respect, and there are also powerful samurai and even ninjas. However, there are very few ninja village chiefs, and no ninja with a little ambition will succumb to a small village in the mortal world. The land of the Vortex is too sensitive, and no one dares to establish a shogunate here and call it a daimyo. That is death. The mortal army is really vulnerable in front of ninjas. The villages of Konoha and Kurigakure have secretly put their tentacles into the Vortex. The Kingdom of Vortex has maintained a wonderful balance, and neither side has tightly grasped the Kingdom of Vortex in their hands. The country of the Vortex has come to this day under this special environment. At this time, it is already a trading paradise, the most important commercial distribution center in the ninja world, and a commercial transit point. Yihai Village, located in the northeast of the country of Vortex, is the top 10 trade villages in the country of Vortex, with a population of 20,000. The noisy village, the street layout is a bit messy, but there are thousands of merchants, and there are countless merchants and pawns. At a glance, there are all kinds of people everywhere, from all over the ninja world, including small merchants, rich merchants and giants, warriors, and ninjas. Luhan took a bamboo hat and walked on the street where people come and go. This is a seafood trading street. In addition to all kinds of fresh fish, there are also all kinds of dry goods, as well as pearls, corals and other things. Today Lu Han was wearing a samurai uniform, which was relatively simple. He didn't wear a mask, but he wore a hat. It seems that Lu Han is an ordinary existence in the crowd of people, and no one will pay much attention to him, but Lu Han is still very careful. Wearing a mask is dazzling, and the bamboo hat is good, it can block a little. There is trouble ahead. The two groups of merchants fought because of the sight issue. Just 3 minutes later, a team of samurai guards arrived at the scene and took away all the troubled merchants. Lu Han stood in the crowd and watched for a while, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. Just now, when the group of samurai guards came over, 2 more chunin from Kumogakure village arrived at the scene and watched the situation. The troubled traders were taken away, and they followed. Lu Han had learned about the situation in Yihai village before he came here. Currently, the ruler of Yihai village is the famous family, Akiyuki, but in fact, behind the Chuyu is Kumogakure village. This is already an open secret in the ninja world. The country of the vortex is rich, but the money does not belong to this country, but to the entire ninja world. Behind those big villages, there are shadows of the great forces of the ninja world, and the 5 ninja villages in the ninja world have the heaviest share. Behind Yihai village is Kumogakure village, behind Baichao village is Kurigakure village, and behind Ludu village is Konoha village. This is the case with the top-ranked wealthy ninja villages in the country of Vortex, and they all have corresponding interests in the country of Vortex. In fact, Konoha has the ability to take all the interests of the country of Vortex, because Konoha is the strongest and borders the country of Vortex. But Konoha won't do it. Also cannot. No, because Konoha uses the country of Vortex as a buffer. If Konoha occupies the country of Vortex, it will directly conflict with the village of Kurigakure, and the consequence is a constant war all the year round. The Kurigakure village also has this kind of thinking, so the two sides are very tacit, and they do not occupy the country of the Vortex. And say no. It's because the water in the country of the Vortex is too deep, and all the major forces have interests here. Anyone who moves is equivalent to offending the entire ninja world. Therefore, you can't move. It is precisely because of these intricate relationships that the country of the Vortex is prosperous today. A small country has become the biggest cake in the ninja world. The 5 major countries all share the cake here. No one suffers, but no one can take too much. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hey, Lu Han thought a lot and sighed. Sarutobi Hiruzen is a big picture and conservative person. Fortunately, he is not a martial artist. If he is, the country of the Vortex will definitely be scorched by the war. The martial arts will not tolerate someone in his home. Cake at the door. Lu Han walked very slowly. He knew the location of Heiyazi Casino, but he was not in a hurry. Because he has an insight map. And Tsunade is the green name. So Lu Han knew as soon as he entered the village, Tsunade was not here, it was all orange, not green. However, Lu Han still planned to go to the Heiyazi gambling house to have a look, stay here for a few days, and so on. Just because Tsunade didn't come today doesn't mean she's gone. With Tsunade's gambler character, maybe he will come back here tomorrow. There are so many people, and Lu Han is looking for her all over the world. Entering the village in the morning, Lu Han stopped and walked around to take a look. With the attitude of joining the WTO, it was not until noon that he ate a big bowl of noodles in the noodle restaurant, and then went to the Heiyazi gambling house. Gambling is legal here. The Heiyazi gambling house is the largest casino here. It is located next to the square in the village, and the location is excellent. The 3-story wooden building is luxuriously decorated. Lu Han stood at the door and looked at the plaque, then walked inside. He had entered the casino lobby, as if he had entered a very noisy world. The 12 gaming tables were crowded with people, and the gamblers who lost Yuhi's eyes were playing. Shouting hoarsely, the gentle and elegant businessman made a smart bet, glanced at the gamblers at the same table with contemptuous eyes. Beautiful girls in simple clothes smiled at some of the guests, and a cold-tempered warrior stood in the corner, staring at him. Those who count too much money, beware of them making trouble. Standing in front of the counter where the chips were exchanged, Luhan glanced at the casino inside, suddenly stunned. Huh. Saw an acquaintance. Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force in Kumogakure village, the land of thunder, Killer Bee. Chapter 0899-Wanjinwu. During World War II, Luhan met Killer Bee. That time he went to the land of thunder to solve the trouble for Laoai and beat Onoki away. Later, in Kumogakure village, Xiaoai officially apprenticed to Luhan, and then went to Konoha with Luhan. Village. It was when Xiaoai was apprenticed that Luhan met Killer Bee, who was only 7 or 8 years old at the time. Killer Bee was standing in the crowd watching the ceremony. However, the two did not speak. It can only be said that there is a one-sided relationship. Reason why Killer Bee is an acquaintance is because this guy is one of the important characters in the original book. He is Xiaoai's righteous brother, Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force, and also taught Uzumaki Naruto how to control the tail beast. Likes rap, likes to hold concerts. I have to say, there is quite a lot of content about him in the original book. At this time, Killer Bee was 19 years old. He was tall and strong. He was 1.9 meters tall and stood out among ordinary people. He was dressed in a rude style with hip-hop flavor. It is a short robe with one shoulder exposed, blue-gray trousers on the lower body, yuhi-colored hemp rope tied around the waist, and 7 knives on the back. It is allowed to enter with weapons, and most of the gamblers are businessmen from all over the world, with different skin colors and different accents. Killer Bee is just tall, and there is no other special place in the crowd. Does this guy like to gamble? Luhan thought for a while, not sure. Killer Bee was betting, indeed betting money, but that didn't mean he liked to gamble, it could be other reasons. He didn't come to see the show, did he? Luhan reacted and smiled to himself. Behind Yihai village is Kumogakure village. The casino is extremely profitable. Such a large casino must be of an official nature. That is to say, this casino is the business of Kumogakure village, and Killer Bee is a Kumogakure ninja. This makes sense. It is a joke to watch the scene, but Killer Bee is here, 80% of the time. He has a mission, or it may be a mission in the country of the vortex. It may be that Luhan stood at the door and observed it for too long. Several warriors watching the scene looked at each other and approached Luhan at the same time. Sir, do you want to change the chips? The middle-aged warrior with a face full of flesh walked up to Luhan and asked in a low voice. Super polite to say. The thugs in this kind of place are like this. You are a guest, and he is absolutely gentle with you. If you dare to make trouble, hack you to death. At this moment, this samurai with a face full of flesh named Oda is already Yuhi. Like the ninja rating, this guy is rated as a level 20 gold boss. The strength of this samurai is comparable to that of the elite Chunin. He had a good attitude, but he had actually suspected Luhan. Well, it's the first time to change the chips. Luhan said softly, then turned to the counter, took out a handful of money tickets from his arms and slapped it on it, change everything. Luhan took the money casually. In the 47 years of Konoha's ninja world, money tickets have become extremely popular and are being converted into paper money. Orochimaru replaced. The old man's eyes lit up behind the counter. He picked up Luhan's money and counted it. There were more than 1.9 million taels. The old man politely exchanged 2 million taels for Luhan, and the extra money was given by the casino. For this kind of big gambler who sells millions of taels, they must have preferential treatment. Luhan took a box of chips, turned and walked into the casino. Sir, do you need to go to the box? The hall is too chaotic, it's all a little mess, you see. Oda with a face full of flesh stopped in front of Luhan again, and turned into a dog-leg boy. He was really rich, uncle, especially in a place like a casino. Box? Luhan asked with a frown. Yes, the second and third floors are all private rooms. Oda pointed to the top. Only customers who exchange 100,000 chips at one time can go to the second floor. To go to the third floor, they need to exchange 1 million chips. Luhan understands. Casinos are all this way. The advantage of doing this is that it can bring big gamblers together. The more they win or lose, the higher the casino draws. It's all about making money. I'll take a walk. Luhan rejected Oda's proposal. Oda didn't say anything, and made a gesture of your request. Luhan began to hang out in the hall. From time to time, he would place a bet on a certain gambling table, and a cool-dressed girl approached Luhan and brought Luhan a drink. There were also casino waiters who came to Luhan's side, wanting to help Luhan with the equipment. Box of chips. Luhan refused, and just walked around alone, never staying in front of a gaming table for too long. Oda was still staring at Luhan, but he had turned into an orange name. Every time he looked at Luhan unintentionally, he would smile all over his face. Luhan even had a creepy feeling, and the smile was so disgusting. After walking around for an hour, Luhan avoided Killer Bee and lowered his hat to prevent Killer Bee from seeing him. After that, Luhan walked to the second floor. Oda immediately caught up with Luhan and went up to the second floor with Luhan. There are 10 boxes on the second floor, and the gameplay is different. Oda began to introduce Luhan incessantly, how enthusiastic he must be. Luhan actually entered 2 boxes, played a few games, and lost a few chips to Oda. It's not easy for this guy. Oda, who was paid, laughed even more disgustingly, and encouraged Luhan to go to the third floor to have a look. Luhan lost 200,000 chips on the second floor before walking up to the third floor. There are only 6 boxes on the third floor, the decoration grades are completely different, and each box is very large. Accompanied by Oda, Luhan entered the first box, played 2 games, lost 100,000, then went to the second box. The third box. Wait for Luhan to come out from the third box, with only 1 million chips left. Bad luck. Luhan also disdains cheating. Sir, this box has a minimum bet of 10,000 yuan and no upper limit. It's the best we have here, you see. Oda began to agitate again, as if he was afraid that Luhan would not play if he lost money. Yeah, Luhan responded with a nasal voice and pushed open the door of the private room called Wanjinwu. There are a total of 8 guests in the box, and they play the simplest dice roll. It depends on luck. It seems that everyone here is a big gambler with a heavy gambling addiction. Luhan opened the door and glanced at it, then his pupils shrank violently. It is very strange that one of the 8 gamblers is very young. He looks like he is only 8 or 9 years old. He is a boy. Chapter 0900_Genius Gambler, Leave. There is no gambling table in the Wanjinwu. There are tatami mats inside. The tatami mats are covered with white rectangular blankets. The blankets are divided into areas with words such as big and small written. 8 people surround the blanket to gamble. There is a 9th person in the room, who looks like a dealer, a middle-aged man with a smile, but Luhan can see his identity information. This is a ninja from Kumogakure village. It is estimated that the real role here is to be a town. The 8 gamblers are all male. There are only 2 young people in their 20s, the others look like wealthy businessmen in their 40s and 50s, and one is a child. He should be around 9 years old, fair and clean, with big eyes, long black hair, wearing a beige kimono, with a golden sash, and an unlucky white cloth on his head, in the middle of which is written a big, gambling, word. Behind the boy, which hangs horizontally on the lower waist. If there are big people such as Sarutobi Hiruzen, Hanzo, Onoki, etc. here at this moment, they will definitely recognize this sword, the Sword of Shock. It stands to reason that such children cannot participate in this kind of gambling. The age difference is too large, the generation gap is too large, and such children usually have no money. But this little boy is different. Not only is he not stage fright at all, but he is full of momentum. He has bought the technique of shaking the dice bell without his hands. That is called a professional. That's called a mature. It seems that he has been practicing for many years, and I don't know which guy with a pit in his head taught him. The other gamblers didn't treat the little boy as a child. It seemed that it was not the first time they had played together. The chips in front of each person ranged from several 100,000 to several million. Luhan held the door with his hand, as if he had been immobilized, staring at the boy. Orange name. Genius gambler, leave. It's him. Luhan and Tsunade's son. It really seems like. Luhan looked at the little boy without blinking. The little boy was very delicate, even a little feminine. It really seemed that his face was very similar to Tsunade. Luhan even had the feeling that he was about to burst into tears. For some reason, he has no feelings for his son, because Lee was not born when he died 10 years ago. But he is there. Alive. Where? The smiling Oda blinked and observed. Seeing Luhan looking at the little boy, he immediately lowered his voice and said, "Don't underestimate that boy. He came 5 days ago, and there were other people who came with him at that time. A woman under 20 years old looks like his sister. In the past few days, this kid has won no less than 3 million taels here, tisk tisk. It's so big, it's amazing. Winning 3 million in a few days is not too much for Wanjinwu." But Oda still felt amazing because the little boy was too young. And the people who gamble with him are all veterans of the casino. There is also a way to roll the dice, and it can even be called gambling. Those veterans who have gambling skills can't even win a child, which is naturally amazing. Luhan came back to his senses, took a deep breath, and asked in a low voice, "What about his sister?" "The so-called sister should be Tsunade." "I don't know, I haven't been here for 2 days," Oda said. "So, he came alone?" Luhan looked startled. "Yeah, I came alone. He lives next door, and the Goulet restaurant next door is also our business," Oda said. Bang! Luhan tilted his body and bumped his head lightly against the wall, and then bumped again. Now, he really wants to smoke people. Smoke Tsunade. Slapped ass all swollen on both sides. Fuck, this is so fucking irresponsible. Why don't you go out by yourself? How can you leave the child here alone? It's still such a messy place where dragons and snakes are mixed. Rest assured. Really relieved. Huh. Luhan let out a long sigh, walked into the room with the chip box in his hand, found a random spot beside the blanket, sat down beside the smiling dealer, sat down cross-legged, and put down the chip box, but he didn't. In a hurry to join the gamble, he didn't come to gamble. "Sir, I'm just outside, you can call me if you have something," Oda said with a smile on his face, and then he closed the door. The other gamblers all squinted at Luhan. They noticed Luhan just at the door. They were just new gamblers, so they didn't pay much attention. In a place like a casino, it's not only acquaintances who can gather together. People come and go. Yes, if you don't know each other, you can gamble if you want. Luhan was not in a hurry to bet, but was observing the rules, and observing the people here. In fact, his eyes frequently fell on the little boy. He's thinking about a serious problem. How do you know each other? This is very difficult. If Luhan took off his hat and said to his son who didn't know him, "I'm your father," I guess 80% of them would fight. Han Guang has been dead for 10 years. The little boy must know about his father's deeds, and naturally he must know that his father is really dead. Luhan knew nothing about his son, nothing. The little boy wasn't familiar with his father either. Even though Tsunade had told him some stories, it was only a story. He hadn't personally contacted him, so the two of them didn't feel familiar at all. Luhan pondered, and noticed the identity information on the top of the little boy's head, and suddenly became angry again. Genius gambler. Genius gambler. Gambler, your sister. Why not a genius ninja? Tsunade Tsunade, you raised a good son. Aren't you playing? Another hoarse voice suddenly sounded from the side. Luhan squinted and saw that it was the casino croupier who was in charge of the rake. His name was Irobi. Normally, he should be the banker who rolls the dice, but because the gamblers have negotiated to take turns sitting at the banker, he has nothing to do with him. Now, most of the time is just watching. Whoever wins the money, according to the proportion, will give him some. Let's see first. Lu Han replied, continuing to wait and see. Irobi smiled and looked away, and said nothing. This kind of gambling is not allowed to be watched, but Lu Han came with 1,000,000 chips, which is naturally different. Lu Han frequently cast his eyes on the little boy. It's been a long time. Lu Han finally made his first bet, and immediately asked the little boy, "Does your family know that you came to such a place at such a young age?" Chapter 0901_Ancestral Gambling. Lu Han's tone was very rude, and subconsciously he showed a preaching tone. The guest opposite the little boy was shaking the dice clock. The little boy raised his head and glanced at Lu Han. With the appearance of the old god, he left 50,000 chips in the area with "big" written on it, and then said, "Ancestral gambling, it has been passed down through 3 generations of the family, and in my generation, I cannot let the craftsmanship go to waste." Quote. His voice is very nice and has a very glutinous feeling. Lu Han's face shook a few times unnaturally. Fuck your mother's ancestral gambling skills. Different from Lu Han's reaction, all the others present showed a clear look. No wonder this kid is young, but he gambles fiercely. It turned out to be an ancestral inheritance. It sounds unusual, but it is easy to believe, because there are indeed professional gamblers in this world, from master to student, from father to son, and gambling skills are also real. Rolling the dice looks like luck, but experts can listen to the sound to identify the situation of the dice in the dice clock. This is gambling. The edge of Lu Han's hat was pressed very low, so that no one could see his whole face. The little boy must have known Lu Han's face. He must have seen statues and portraits. Lu Han was thinking about how to recognize his son in a peaceful way and appear with his father's face, but he could not prove he is his father. He will cause trouble. The game continues. Lu Han has played more than 10 times in a row, just to control the big and small, lose more and win less. His gambling luck today is very bad. What's your name? Lu Han suddenly asked again. Ali, the little boy responded casually. It was his turn to sit in the village. He picked up the dice clock and asked casually, "How about you?" "Ghosts see sorrow," Lu Han said. The little boy was stunned for a moment, then blinked his big eyes to look at Lu Han, and as soon as his eyes rolled, he started shaking the dice clock, and began to shout something like, "Buy and leave." When he dunked the dice, the others also finished their bets. With his extraordinary strength, Lu Han heard that the number of the dice should be big, and the number of 3 dice was more than 9, and he played the big one, while 5 of the other 7 gamblers present were the big one. It's open. The little boy glanced at everyone present and opened the dice clock. 3 dice, 2 of them are stacked together, one is 5 o'clock, the one above is 5 o'clock, and the one above is 10 o'clock, unless the bottom is also 5 o'clock, it will form a leopard that can be killed, otherwise, the little boy will lose. The little boy took off the top dice very slowly, and the bottom one, 5 o'clock. Leopard, kill, the little boy said lightly. Fuck, Lu Han cried out in his heart, but he heard it wrong. It should be 552, why is it 555? It is worth mentioning that on the dice, the opposite of the 2 is the 5, that is to say, if the 5 is up, and the 180 degree is reversed, the 2 will be up and the 5 will be down. This kid can't cheat, right? Lu Han thought for a while, then glanced at the others around him. They all sighed and admired a little. Obviously, they didn't think Ali was cheating. Could it be a profound gambling technique? Gui Jianqiu is not a name, right? Ali suddenly asked Lu Han. Yeah, Lu Han responded with a nasal voice. Why use this code name? No why, just a code name. Oh. Apparently, Ali has heard the code name, Ghost Seeing Sorrow. Perhaps it was the story Tsunade told him, because back then, when Lu Han was in the land of rain, he used this code name to deceive Tsunade, and even helped Tsunade crack Chio's poison. I don't know what he was thinking. Time flies. About 2 hours later, Lu Han lost all his chips, and immediately greeted the outside again. Oda was indeed guarding outside. Luhan took out all the money he had exchanged at Konoha before, almost 5 million, and handed it over to him. Oda to exchange. The gamblers in the room all looked sideways at Luhan, and some people smiled faintly or even laughed. This is Yuhi's loss. They have seen many such gamblers. Of course Luhan didn't lose Yuhi's eyes, it was like a drizzle of money, and he lost all the money to his son. Since Luhan joined the game, Lee's luck has gotten better and better. In 2 hours, he 3 million won taels, of which 1 million taels belonged to Luhan. While Luhan was losing money, he also got close to Ali, asking questions and attacking from side to side. Ali is very educated and speaks in a leisurely manner. There are some things he doesn't want to answer, and he won't expressly refuse. For example, when Luhan asked him who taught him gambling skills, he answered his family, but didn't say who it was. After another hour, the 2 gamblers who had lost all their money left, and after another half an hour, 2 new gamblers were brought in to join the game. So, 4 hours passed. It's night time, and 16 people have been in and out of this box. Except for Ali, all of them have lost. Luhan was the worst loser. He had lost almost 6 million taels of chips, while Ali won no less than 20 million taels. Multiple normalization, which is rare. Because the wins and losses are huge, the casino's rake is also high. The dealer named Irobi has already taken no 1 million rake. Everyone's eyes on Ali were wrong, including a few big gamblers who lost 2 or 3 million taels, and already lost Yuhi's eyes. Damn, this kid's luck is going against the sky today. There is no possibility of cheating. Because Luhan also used to sit in the village, he checked the dice and the dice clock, and they all had a very strong spell. It's definitely an S-level forbidden technique. Chakra can't penetrate it at all, and Luhan can't do it either. If he does it forcibly, the dice clock will blow up. I am lucky today. Ali doesn't know how many times he's said this. Maybe he also feels strange. Why is he so lucky today? After making another village, Ali shakes out 666 leopards and kills them again. After putting the chips together, he looked up at the window, dropped the dice clock, stretched his waist and said, "It's getting late, let's stop here today, and continue tomorrow." What do you mean, boy? If you win, you want to run, don't you? You said you won't play if you don't play. Several gamblers who lost Yuhi's eyes all stood up at once, glaring at Ali. In addition to a few businessmen, there was also a middle-aged ninja. Yuhi name. Jonan. Chapter 0902 Let's say goodbye. Casinos are so messy. Even in such a high-end box, gamblers who lose Yuhi's eyes can really do anything. Those big businessmen with bright appearances, once they indulge in gambling, are likely to go bankrupt. Now, what has he to fear? Luhan sat there cross-legged and didn't move, squinting at these guys who lost Yuhi's eyes, full of bad intentions. If anyone dares to move Ali's finger, Yihai village is likely to be wiped out. Although Ali was young, he looked like he had seen strong winds and waves. Facing a few menacing adults, one of them even showed the breath of a ninja. He stood up slowly, and then glanced at Irobi. On the surface, Irobi is a dealer and a staff member who is responsible for the commission, but he actually came here to watch the game. Boom _ Irobi, who was sitting cross-legged, raised a terrifying aura, and the airflow around him was maddening, and even the protective curse marks on the walls around the box were stimulated to emerge. Elite Jonan. Although he is an orange name in Luhan's eyes, Luhan can judge his approximate strength through his breath. An elite physique from Kumogakure village. I actually came to watch the show for a small box in a casino. In fact, there is nothing wrong, because the casino is too profitable, and today is a special situation, so Irobi has only drawn more than 1 million yuan. Even if it is usually less, why should it be 100,000 or 200,000? 1 or 200,000 a day, how about a month? What about a year? This box may bring tens of millions of taels of income to Kumogakure village a year, and the ninja performs an S-level war mission. The commission is only 1 million taels, and a task takes at least 10 days and a half months, which is not stable. Therefore, it is not too much to let the elite Jonin come here to see the scene. Even if the super elite come here, it is normal. Don't make trouble. Irobi said this after revealing her breath. The gamblers who looked at Yuhi suddenly shriveled, and were even a little frightened. Ali pointed to the pile of chips and said to Irobi, "I'll go straight to get the money. 21,360,000 taels, go and get it from below." Irobi reported the exact number. Obviously he had been staring at the pile of chips in front of Ali. Ali walked out, but the other unwilling gamblers didn't leave. They didn't have much money, but they could still play. Luhan also got up and walked out with Ali. Irobi flashed and disappeared in the box, and within a dozen seconds, he flashed back and appeared again, and turned into a smiling look, watching the guests gamble. Near the gate of Hayazi gambling house, Xiao Ali jumped up and sat on the counter sideways, took a stack of money tickets respectfully handed out from the counter, then jumped down and walked out the gate. Alone, carrying a huge amount of money, really not afraid of being robbed. Luhan has been following Ali, and when he walks out the door, he quickly walks 2 steps to his side, with a very familiar tone. "Where do you live?" "Here." Ali pointed to the ancient restaurant next to him. The restaurant is 9 stories high, and the building is magnificent. "Good place." Luhan looked at the restaurant and followed Ali all the way into the restaurant. Ali went straight upstairs. He has a room upstairs, and Luhan locked his breath to determine where he went. Floor, only then went to the counter to open the room. It was on the 7th floor, and the price of the rooms was terribly expensive. 3,000 taels stayed a night, but there were still vacant rooms. The room Luhan wanted was just next to Ali's room. A waiter brought Luhan upstairs into the room to check the situation, and asked Luhan if he wanted dinner service. Luhan refused and let him leave. There are dice and other gambling equipment, and it really is a business with the casino. Luhan was still locking in Ali's breath, standing by the window of the room, looking at the lively night market outside. With Luhan's ear, he could vaguely hear the sound of running water in the room next door. Ali should be taking a shower. Luhan waited for about half an hour and felt that Ali was about to go out. Out. In the hallway. Ali, who had changed into a refreshing kimono with the sword of astonishment hanging behind his back, just went out, and a figure with a hat came out from the next room. "Hey, what a coincidence." Ali smiled, a strange look flashed in his eyes. "Yeah, what a coincidence," Luhan said, habitually pressing the edge of the bucket hat. "Why are you following me?" Ali asked. Luhan was a little embarrassed. "Found out." "Shit, so obviously it will be discovered." It just happened, it means we have a fate." Luhan said nonsense. "Oh," Ali responded calmly, and then walked towards the stairs. Luhan quickly took 2 steps to catch up with Ali, and started to get close again. Luhan's acting skills should have been superb, but for some reason, in front of his son, he always showed flaws, maybe because of nervousness. "Have you eaten yet?" "No, I'm going to eat." "Together." "Okay." 20 minutes later, on the 3rd floor of the restaurant, in the high-end dining hall, because the consumption here is much more expensive than the 1st floor, there are relatively few guests and it is half full. The people who eat here are either rich or expensive. In the semi-open compartment in the corner, Luhan and Ali were sitting opposite each other. They were both eating noodles, and they ordered the same type of noodles in a heartbeat. They were both big bowls and there were some side dishes on the table. "A person like you is very dangerous. Does your family ignore you?" "She has something to do." "It's so irresponsible." "It's all right." The two chatted casually. There are 2 people, one big and one small, and the atmosphere is harmonious. Luhan is very worried. Is this son stupid? Why don't you have the slightest bit of vigilance as a ninja? "Your family, I heard from the casino people, it's a young woman, is that your sister?" "Where did she go?" Lu Han asked in a very casual tone. Ali glanced at Lu Han and said, I can tell you, but you have to promise me one thing first. What? Let's swoop. PFF'd. Cough. Cough cough cough. Lu Han sprayed the whole face back into the bowl, and then began to cough violently. Chapter 0903 God's Stick Potential. Lu Han was coughing, while Ali looked at Lu Han with interest, not knowing what he was thinking. Cough. Cough. Sworn. Are you stupid? We just met. Cough. Lu Han asked intermittently. He finally stopped coughing. It was so fucking scary. The son wants to swoop in with the father. My family said that I have a heart that can distinguish between good and evil, and I can feel people's kindness and malice, closeness and distance. How do you say it? Oh yes. Seek good luck and avoid evil. Yes, that's it. I can seek good luck and avoid evil. Ali said. Talent. Lu Han wiped his mouth, removed the sprayed noodle bowl, and muttered. It's pretty accurate. Ali smiled again. So, do you think you are a good person? Ali blinked. I can feel that you are not only friendly to me, but even very close. Maybe, it is really fate. Otherwise, why do you think I should sit and eat with you? Face. But it's not to the point of directly sworn in, right? Lu Han said with a twitch at the corner of his mouth. Isn't it okay? Ali asked back, and added, Mother. Family members often tell me that she said that people's fate is predestined by heaven, and that some people, no matter how big the gap in identities, no matter how big the age gap is, how old, even if one person who was once considered humble can be bullied, the other stands on the top of the mountain, overlooking the prosperity of the world. They can be together, even if the relationship between the two is not in the world, even if the relationship between master and apprentice is the relationship between the elder and the younger may also become a lover. This is fate, this is fate. Oh, of course, since we are all men, we can't fall in love, so let's swoop. Lu Han suddenly fell silent, bowing his head slightly, wondering what he was thinking. Xiao Ali didn't know what happened to Lu Han, so he snorted and ate half a bowl of noodles before asking, Do you swoop in? Lu Han looked up at him. The dog's mood filled his mind. Bless your sister. No way, we just met, you don't know me, and I don't know you either. Lu Han sighed, so sad. You have to believe that fate, if you miss it, you will miss it. Fate will make fun of people. In a lifetime, you can meet tens of millions of people, but very few can talk. The people who are truly destined are just a handful. It can be counted, from strangers, to acquaintances. Everything is an opportunity given by fate, and it may be the only opportunity, really. If you miss it, you miss it. Ali has the potential to be a magician. What fate, come when you open your mouth. Lu Han is very worried. What can be done in the future? He was not worried about Ali, but worried about the so-and-so girl, the so-and-so girl, and the so-and-so girl. This Ali, how many little girls will be deceived in the future? When I grew up, you were the first, the only one. The stranger who made me feel close. This is fate. My family said that I have a heart that can distinguish between good and evil, so I should believe in fate, believe in fate. Lu Han raised his hand to cover his forehead. Fuck, headache. Let's swoop. No, I refuse. Why? You don't suffer from sworn swastika. You are 18 years old, right? I can't see your face completely, but you look very young, and I am younger than you. Sworn. You are the eldest brother, I am the younger brother. No, okay. To repeat, I refuse. Don't you want to know me? Don't you want to know the situation in my family? Make a sworn bond, and I will tell you when you swoop in. Lu Han had already seriously suspected that the child was mentally ill. Sorrow. Brother, how is it? No. Shut up. You are not afraid of losing your life. Stop. Lu Han was a little frightened, and his voice was much higher. Oh, Ali suddenly became calm. His eyes blinked cunningly, then returned to clear, and turned into a cute and harmless appearance. Lu Han keenly caught the change in Ali's eyes. His heart froze for a moment, and then his heart began to beat suddenly. This kid. You're not kidding, are you? Is he telling the truth? Lie, or are you just talking shit? He still has the orange name, and Lu Han can't feel his malice, so he can't judge at all what is on his mind. Are you a samurai? Xiao Ali asked suddenly. That's right, Lu Han replied. The two started chatting again. Lu Han didn't ask him about Tsunade, and he didn't talk about Sworn. Lu Han seemed a little absent-minded. He was thinking about all the things he'd said since meeting with Ali, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt in his heart. Surprised, because he didn't get any effective information from Ali's mouth. Lu Han once inherited the ability of Jiao Hai, not only the climax performance skills, but also the strong camouflage detection ability. The cliché is the most complicated language skills. Lu Han is an expert, a master. But now, he has never. Ali's mouth couldn't escape a useful word. It's all bullshit. Lu Han doesn't even know how many people in Ali's family. Because the previous bowl of noodles was sprayed by Lu Han didn't eat it, and ordered another bowl, but it hadn't been delivered yet. While Ali was eating, Lu Han watched. When will your family pick you up? Lu Han asked casually. It's possible at any time. Ali said another nonsense, as if he didn't answer. When the noodles were delivered, the waiter with the tray put the noodles in front of Lu Han, took a fruit platter from the tray, and said respectfully, to distinguished guests, your consumption has reached a fixed amount. This is a delivery yours, please use it slowly. Thank you. Lu Han nodded to the waiter. The waiter left with the tray. Lu Han had just picked up the noodles with his chopsticks, when Ali, who was opposite him, suddenly made a lightning strike and grabbed Lu Han's chopsticks with his own chopsticks. Lu Han was very relieved. Okay, this skill must be an elite chunin, right? It seems that although Tsunade distorted Ali's ability tree, he still hasn't forgotten to train him into a ninja. What's wrong? Lu Han asked in confusion. The face is poisonous, Ali whispered, slowly retracting his chopsticks, then glanced at the fruit platter, and said, the fruit you gave away is also poisonous. Lu Han was shocked. How did you find out? Lu Han didn't notice anything unusual, which was because he wasn't afraid of poisoning himself, so he didn't care. Chapter 0904 Time to Kill. Although Ali is only 9 years old, in terms of wisdom, thinking, language, demeanor, and vigilance, he is not inferior to a seasoned ninja who performs tasks outside all year round and has experienced many battles. The most amazing thing is that he can find out that the food is poisonous from the air. How can he know? The noodles are poisonous, and the fruit is poisonous. The noodles are for Lu Han, and the fruit is eaten by 2 people. In other words, the target is Lu Han and Ali. Lu Han immediately opened the insight map. Among the countless orange names, the Yuhi name really appeared. And this Yuhi name is in the restaurant on the 3rd floor, a ninja from Kumogakure village. Kumogakure in the country of Vortex Special Operations Force 30 White Silver Boss, Naros. Lu Han didn't look back, and he couldn't see it, because the 3 volumes in the compartment were all wooden fences and were very high. After Ali finished talking about the poisonous thing, he looked calm again and continued to eat, but he just didn't touch the plate of fruit, as if nothing had happened. It seems that he often encounters this kind of thing. Yes, that's it. Otherwise, it is impossible to get used to it. Lu Han couldn't be as calm as Ali, damn it. Snoring. Ali's eyes suddenly widened, and he looked at Lu Han with a startled look. His eyes seemed like he was going to hell. Because Lu Han was eating a bowl of poisonous noodles, he ate it in big mouthfuls, and soon he ate half of the bowl. Then, under Ali's shocked gaze, Lu Han picked up the cut watermelon in the fruit platter and quickly ate a slice. Why can't you think about it? Ali said, don't think about it. If there is something unpleasant, let me, feel the same way. Lu Han has already started to bleed, but the blood loss is not as fast as recovery, so he doesn't even need to use the small blue bottle. just wait for the medicine to wear off. It's a chronic poison, Lu Han said, smacking his lips. The composition is very complicated. The poison will first enter the blood circulation and incubate for 7 hours. After 7 hours, the effect of the drug will explode and affect the heart. It will start to cause symptoms such as rapid heartbeat and palpitation. Then there will be arrhythmia, heart failure, shock, until death. Quote, "It's a very good assassination poison that leaves no traces. After the murder, the autopsy results will be tested as a sudden death from a heart attack." Do you understand poison? Xiao Ali blinked. Lu Han nodded. Oh, that's good. Xiao Ali was relieved. It seemed that the guy in front of him didn't have a hard time thinking about it, but he knew about poison, so he would naturally detoxify it. You don't seem to care about this kind of thing, Lu Han asked. What's there to care about? Ali pouted. Don't want to know who did it. I don't want to. Why? They encountered it too many times, so naturally I don't want to. It doesn't matter. So sad. How many times has this child been assassinated to become so open-minded? This time, it's just those gamblers who lost money. Xiao Ali said again, shrugging his shoulders. It's just a little trick. The security in Yihai village is very good, so they can only come in secret, hee. Gambler. However, Lu Han felt that something was wrong. Ali guessed the most normal result and the most likely result, but Lu Han knew that the person who poisoned it was a ninja from Kumogakure village. And also a Jonin. The restaurant itself is innocent, because Lu Han didn't find other Yuhi names here, and it was too easy for Jonin to poison quietly. After dinner, Lu Han and Ali went upstairs together. Just after the two entered the stairs, the tall and thin middle-aged man sitting in the booth in the other corner got up. This man was Naros. He seemed to walk through the hall casually, just in the gap between Lu Han and Ali's meal. Passing by, glanced inside, and saw that the last bowl of noodles and fruit platter had been eaten. A subtle smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he quickly left the restaurant and went downstairs. Lu Han and Ali returned to the 7th floor together. The two rooms were next to each other. Lu Han had already planned to say goodbye to Ali. He had to deal with the Yuhi name, but Ali took the initiative to invite Lu Han to his room. Sit inside. Aren't you afraid that I'm a bad guy? Lu Han asked. He started to worry again. Why is this son so hearty? Aren't you afraid that I'm a bad guy? Ali asked Lu Han with these words, and winked at Lu Han. Lu Han was stunned for a moment, then laughed. Accompanying the son is naturally more important than killing the enemy. Lu Han followed Ali into his room, which was also a suite. It was very clean. Lu Han followed and watched casually. Tsunade should have lived here before. Playing dice. Ali sat on the sofa, picked up the dice clock on the coffee table, shook it to Lu Han, and added, playing with money. Lu Han understood. The corners of his mouth twitched. This kid. It turned out to be a gambling addict. Come on. Lu Han sat opposite Ali and took it out in his arms, looking a little embarrassed. I don't have much cash, can I use gems instead? Of course. Ali smiled. Lu Han took out a handful of gems to bet with Ali, and Ali's face flashed a strange color. He probably didn't expect Lu Han to be so rich. The two played until midnight, and Lu Han lost all. Those gems were worth about 3 million taels. I'm so sleepy, it's time to sleep. Ali said. See you tomorrow. Lu Han stood up decisively. After going out, Lu Han went back to his room. With a wave of his hand, the faceless man appeared beside Lu Han. Lu Han whispered, the kid in the next room, protect him. Yes. Faceless took the lead. Lu Han dodged and disappeared. In Yihai village at night, most of them are dark, but some streets are still brightly lit. It seems to be a city that never sleeps. I have to admit that Kumogakure village manages this place very well. The most important street, the fire lit from the south to the north, running through the entire village. Lu Han put on a black robe mask and started searching in Yihai village. The area of Yihai village is bigger than that of Konoha village. Because there are many buildings in Konoha village, people live in a denser place, while there are few buildings in Yihai village, and many places are market operation areas, and there are no people at night, which leads to the area of Yihai village, which is several times that of Konoha village. Luhan is looking for Naros. It doesn't matter why he poisoned Ali, what matters is that if Luhan wants to kill him, he must die. Chapter 0905-Y Poison. Luhan's insight map can't cover the entire Yihai village, but the coverage area of the insight map is too large, so he only needs to move the range a little to scout the entire Yihai village. Luhan was so sure that Tsunade was not in Yihai village at the beginning. Since there is no green name in Yihai village, this means that Tsunade is not within the scope of the insight scope. After leaving the Gueju building, Luhan walked a few hundred meters north, and the name Yuhi appeared on the northern edge of the insight map. More than one. The big Yuhi name is still that, Naros, and there are other Yuhi names beside him, a total of 7 people, gathered together, and some orange names are also in the same position as them. Luhan didn't care so much and approached quickly. The location of Naros is in the northernmost part of Yihai village. There are many towers there. It is the residence of Akiyuki, the ruler of Yihai village. The ninjas of Kumogakure village, who were sent here to do business, also live there. After a few minutes, a 7-story round Jinchuriki column-shaped tower with a top floor, hot and bright. This is a training ground. Even at night, there are still people training here. There are more than a dozen people in the huge venue. Rose and the other 7 people gathered loosely in the rest area next to the venue, exchanged glances with each other, and whispered, like, what are you waiting for? People on the field exchanged, and they did not use chakra, but only used physical strength to learn physical and melee skills. Naros suddenly turned his head and glanced at the moonlight outside the window, and whispered to the people around him, there are still 3 hours. Squeak. The door of the training ground was suddenly pushed open, and a young and strong figure walked into the hall. The ninjas who were training suddenly stopped, and Rose and the others also stood up and greeted them respectfully, Lord Killer Bee. It's Killer Bee. Killer Bee, nor to say that he is Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column power, but to say that he is the sworn brother of the 4th generation of Raikage, this is enough for most Kumogakure ninjas to salute him. You guys continue, I'll just take a look. Killer Bee laughed. The training ground is back to normal again, the sparring, the small talk. Killer Bee seemed to have come to inspect, stopped and walked, looked where he was, and then walked to the rest area. The few people gathered in the rest area hurriedly got up again, and Ross's eyes flashed with deep fear, and he concealed it well, squeezed out a smile and said, Sir Killer Bee, it's so late, and I'm still not resting. Can't sleep. Yihai village is really boring, why don't you have a rap contest here? Killer Bee sighed. The corner of Ross's mouth twitched, not knowing how to answer. Killer Bee loves rap and likes all kinds of interactive games, as the Kumogakure village ninjas know. However, Yihai village is used to make money. Rap and the like cannot make money. There are too few people who like it, so naturally there will be no so-called rap competition. You said, if there is a concert here, will anyone watch it? Killer Bee asked. I'm afraid, that Ross looked very difficult to say. Oh, needless to say, I understand. Killer Bee sighed again, putting on a vicissitudes of life that, no one in this world understands me. After chatting a few more times, Killer Bee walked to the edge of the practice field, watching the people inside, and sometimes cheering with others. Naros leaned against the sofa and glanced at the people around him, all showing understanding eyes. A black figure quietly appeared behind the sofa, and no one noticed, because the figure was breathless and made no sound, and he appeared in a very clever position, behind everyone, because they were all there. Looking at the situation on the field, naturally no one saw the people behind. When Luhan saw Killer Bee, he immediately looked away, ignoring it. He clearly distinguishes, those Yuhi names related to the poisoning are bound to die, and Luhan is too lazy to go to the high assassination. Why do you want to poison? Luhan suddenly leaned over and whispered in Ross's ear. The hair on Ross's whole body exploded, and without even knowing his head, he jumped up with a whimper, and his whole body burst into breath. Knife light up. In an instant, Na Ross's legs were cut off, and Na Ross's scream was extremely shrill. Everyone in the venue was shocked. Killer Bee turned around quickly and saw a scene that made him tear his eyes. I saw that the men in black who appeared at some point turned into afterimages, and they were slaughtering the Kumogakure ninja like a storm. Damn! Killer Bee shouted angrily, his whole body burst with breath, his hands were as fast as lightning, both knives came out, and he quickly approached Luhan. Luhan killed 6 people in a row. Among the 7 Yuhi names before, except for Naro's. There are 2 Jonin, 3 elite Chunin, and 1 Chunin. Killer Bee rushed forward with an aura like Yamashita. Among the Kumogakure ninjas, he is the strongest and the fastest. At this point he has become the Yuhi name. Luhan saw his strength level. He had already reached the 50th super elite level. With such strength at the age of 19, he was naturally a genius. Killer Bee's strength is enhanced by his Jinchuriki column strength as a human being, and he doesn't know how far other people's Jinchuriki column strength ability has been cultivated. Killer Bee is good at swordsmanship, and when he rushes to Luhan, he is naturally a sword, with 2 swords like a dragon. Luhan smashed it with a knife. Boom _. The terrifying half-moon knife light not only blocked Killer Bee's double knives, but also blasted him directly out. Killer Bee flew upside down like a cannonball, flew over the entire field, smashed through the wall at the other end of the field, and flew out of the building. Still bleeding. Luhan didn't kill him. Well, it's on Xiao Ai's face. Everything happened too fast, and the others had just reacted. After Luhan repelled Killer Bee, he directly lifted up Naro's, who had both broken legs, turned into a glimpse and broke out of the window, and quickly disappeared without a trace. Leaving the mouth alive, Luhan naturally wanted to ask why he was poisoned. Ali doesn't care, but Luhan does, because Kumogakure is different from ordinary thieves. This is one of the 5 ninja villages in the ninja world, and it is famous for being warlike. The ghost knows if there is any conspiracy behind this, and it may even be against Tsunade. Chapter 0906 _ for money. This night, Yihai village was in chaos. The chaos first started at the residence of Chueji in the north of the village, and then spread to the entire Yihai village. Kumogakure village has 2 battalions of nearly 400 ninjas stationed here, and employs nearly 1,000 mortal warriors, and Chueji is also a master a mortal army of nearly 2,000 men. It's all moving. Blockade. Search. The enormity of this is simply appalling. The mysterious ninja beheaded several Kumogakure elite ninjas in public. This is secondary, the main thing is that Killer Bee was injured. As the 4th generation of Reikage's sworn brother, Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force of Kumogakure village, Killer Bee in the country of the vortex was injured. This matter must be reported layer by layer. The information will eventually be sent to Hokage I. It is conceivable that Hokage will how outraged. Kumogakure village troops stationed in Ihai village are incompetent. If the murderer is allowed to run like this, even without knowing who the murderer is, then the Kumogakure village will inevitably usher in a major purge, and those incompetent will have a miserable end. Antique restaurant. The brigade of samurai quickly arrived here, blocked it, and then the Kumogakure ninja came forward and began to search, but they did not dare to be too public, and dared not say that everyone squatted on the ground and searched one by one. In that case, things will be even more troubled, and the business of Yihai village will be over. Yihai village is very profitable, but the expenses are also huge. Just hiring those mortal warriors every year will add up to sky-high commissions, but Yihai village can still bring hundreds of millions of taels of pure income to Kumogakure village every year. Business is naturally more important than the lives of those ninjas. 7th floor. The Kumogakure ninja was in a hurry, holding the check-in list in his hand. He went in to check any unoccupied room. If someone lived, he knocked on the door to see if the person inside was there. Xiao Ali's door was also knocked, and a childish response sounded from inside. Sleep, don't make any noise. It's a child, it's registered, it can't be him. The two ninjas whispered a few words, then walked to the adjacent guest room and knocked on the door. Anything, the wise faceless man replied in the room. Here is a samurai, very young. The two ninjas whispered again, and then one of them said, it's okay. Some gangsters sneaked into the village, we are searching. A preliminary search. It's impossible for the Kumogakur ninja to cross-examine everyone face to face. Now they're knocking on the door to make sure who isn't there. Whoever is not there will be suspect. Moreover, in the short term, no one here can leave Yihai village. If no one is found, there will definitely be a second investigation. Somewhere in Yihai village, in the closed market and the empty trading workshop, the smell of fish is very strong, and the smell of blood is mixed in it, which is extremely irritating. Naros, who had a broken leg, was already half dead, lying on the ground with blood on the ground. Luhan squatted in front of Ross and stared into his eyes. The eternal Mangekyo was spinning rapidly, then Ross's eyes gradually became confused. He was about to die, the wound was too big, and he would bleed to death, and his consciousness was very weak. Why did you poison that 9-year-old boy? Luhan asked. Money, he has 20 million taels on him. Naros said blankly. Luhan frowned. Kumogakur dared to kill gamblers to steal money. It's too dark. Who made you do this? Luhan asked again. Polo, sir. Have you done this kind of thing before? Yes. Did. Just for the money. Yes. Ross's voice stopped abruptly, his vitality was cut off, and he was dead. Bleeding to death, a normal person had his legs chopped off, he would go into shock within half a minute of bleeding, but this guy persisted for a few minutes, naturally because he was a ninja with strong vitality. Luhan heaved a sigh of relief, and asked all the questions that should have been asked, and the results satisfied him. Just for the money, it doesn't matter. Just like what Xiao Ali thought at the time, there was something wrong. The money was not for the gamblers who lost Yuhi's eyes, but for the official Kumogakur. Xiao Ai, how on earth do you manage the village? Tisk. Luhan shook his head and sighed, getting up and disappearing. He didn't care about the body, and it was nothing to be found. The Yihai village in the dark is already brightly lit. The village has been completely blocked. Ninjas, samurai, and a large number of mortal army soldiers are searching. The village is too big, so the blockade is not strict. With Luhan's strength, he can come and go freely. The insight map shows that the number of Yuhi names in the village has exceeded 3,000, and the big Yuhi name is the 8 people Jinchuriki column force killer B. This caused some trouble for Luhan, because he could no longer judge where Lord Polo was. Those were the accomplices of Lord Polo, and those who were not, didn't know. The previous Yuhi name was malicious and poisonous. The current Yuhi name is malicious because Luhan killed people, so all the Kumogakur ninjas in Yihai village became Yuhi's name. Luhan directly used Hiraishin's technique to return to the room of the Guweju restaurant, put away the faceless man, changed his clothes, and fell asleep. In the southwest of the country of Vortex, under the same night, the southwest mountain range. There was a scorched earth in the forest, the fire was soaring into the sky, and there were nearly 100 corpses. There are still hundreds of gray-robed figures running back and forth on the battlefield, forming formations and being careful. The leading ninjas are all wounded, but their breath is extremely terrifying. I am afraid that they are at least excellent existences among the elite Jonin. They are all super elites who have entered the 50-level class. The masked man at the head was even a cage-level existence who had entered the 60th level hierarchy, but he was also the most seriously injured, and half of his body was dripping with blood. On the other side of the battlefield, the yin seal has been opened on the young woman's forehead, and she is half holding another young woman with white eyes in her arms. The latter is covered in blood, but her face is pale and bloodless. Was in a semi-conscious state. Tell me the location of the treasure, and I'll give you the antidote. You don't want her to die, right? The seriously injured masked man said gloomily. He looked very badly injured, but there was a smile in his voice. Do you think I'll believe you? The young woman's body was shaking, and she forced a sneer. Sister, put me down. It's okay. You go, the injured woman said weakly intermittently. Chapter 0907 Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning _ Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning that Lu Han was looking for. It looks like Tsunade is less than 20 years old, and Hyuga Luoning is in her early 20s. In fact, Tsunade is 37 years old, but she has the ability to stay young forever, so she looks very young, and Hyuga Luoning is also 30 years old this year, but because of good maintenance, she looks much younger. Tsunade's body trembled more and more violently, sweating like rain, but still holding on. He half-hugged Hyuga Luoning, and slowly stepped back. Sister, think of Ali, he can't live without you. Hyuga Luoning said again, even trying to push Tsunade away. If it wasn't for her drag, Tsunade would definitely be able to escape alone. Stop talking nonsense. Tsunade grabbed Hyuga Luoning's arm and glanced at the more than 100 ninjas who were staring at him. Even though his body was trembling, his steps were firm. Tisk, it's really a sisterhood. The masked man made a teasing voice. Hermophobia. Tisk, it's a strange disease. In this case, you can force yourself to be like this with us. I have to say admiration to you. Lord Tsunade, you are indeed one of the legendary Sannin. In fact, Tsunade's real strength, against this group of people, is definitely a crushing existence. The strongest masked man may only be stronger than Tsunade 15 years ago. Against the current Tsunade, he is not an opponent at all, and those more than 200 trash fish. Yes, it can only be described by the word trash fish, and it cannot pose any threat to Tsunade at all. However, the fear of blood, but Tsunade's strength has been greatly retreated. Since her husband Han Guang died, she has suffered from this disease, and she even fainted because of seeing blood. Today, she was really holding on because of Hyuga Luoning. Treasure left by the cold light. The masked man suddenly raised his voice and spoke extremely fast. Tsunade, this is your last chance. Otherwise, don't blame my subordinates for being ruthless. Ha, Tsunade sneered twice. Treasure. Her master's money is indeed a treasure. That money is even enough to keep a big ninja village going for a few years of war. But Tsunade is clear, can't give. It's not that she is reluctant, but because she understands that giving money by herself is the only way to kill herself. This group of looters with unknown origins cannot be merciful and cannot keep their promises. The logic goes like this. Tsunade is not alone. Behind her is the largest ninja village in the ninja world, Konoha Village. Although she has no contact with Konoha Village, the outside world still thinks she is a Konoha ninja. If she wants to steal Tsunade's money, if she doesn't cut the grass and root, it will really cause disaster. In fact, it's not wrong to think so. Tsunade just broke up with Sarutobi Hiruzen, but she still has a lot of friends and relatives in Konoha. Jiraiya and Orochimaru are her best friends, and Captain Konoha Anbu wants to call her a teacher. If something happened to her, Konoha might retaliate, not even Sarutobi Hiruzen. Even more frightening is that Hokage I, the fourth generation of Kumogakure village in the country of thunder today, also call her a teacher. There are even more terrifying. That is her late husband, the ninja known as Konoha Hangwang, who was once revered as a god of killing. Although he has been dead for 10 years, he still has a huge influence in the ninja world. Hangwang Jifa's wife was killed, really spreads in the ninja world. I don't know how many people will jump out to avenge him. Therefore, everyone who wants to rob treasures understands that to rob money, we must cut down the roots. Otherwise, if the news is leaked, the money will not be spent even if you have your life. Over the years, because of the money, Tsunade has been robbed many times. She has long thought clearly that unless the money is defeated and captured alive, the money cannot be given. If you give it directly, you will die. If you don't give it, the other party will be for money. Even if caught, there is still a chance. Tsunade is tough. She didn't turn to Konoha for help, even after so many disasters. At the same time, she is also very guilty, because if she hadn't started gambling again, spending money lavishly, there would be no rumors about the cold light treasure in the ninja world. The atmosphere has been suppressed to ultimate. Tsunade stepped back, with Hyuga Luo Ning, trying not to look at the blood. Since this is the case, Master Tsunade, I can only apologize. The masked man shook his head helplessly, then his eyes slammed, and he shouted, "Do it!" Boom _ All the ninjas moved. Tsunade dropped the smoke grenade, turned and flew. With Hyuga Luo Ning, her speed is slower and her flexibility is greatly reduced. This is the reason why she has killed more than 100 people and still hasn't escaped, but she can't give up Hyuga Luo Ning. Yihai Village, early morning. The tense atmosphere has not yet dissipated. Yihai Village is still under blockade, and the search has been temporarily stopped and turned to surveillance. Each market is open as normal, and there are no restrictions on people doing business. Casinos are also open as usual. However, at this time, Yihai Village is not allowed to enter and exit, and almost all tall buildings have many ninjas standing on them to monitor pedestrians. Luhan woke up early, full of energy, and slept a bit more. He didn't carry out the plan to resurrect White Fang last night because it was not very convenient here. In the corridor, Luhan and Xiao Ali happened to meet again. Xiao Ali smiled sweetly and looked like a good baby. Looking at his eyes, how he looked at Luhan, he was pleasing to the eye. It was probably related to the fact that he won a lot of gems from Luhan yesterday. The two went to the restaurant on the third floor to eat again, still eating noodles, chatting in a low voice while eating. It seems like something went wrong yesterday, and the village is under martial law. Luhan said casually. Yeah, it's annoying to disturb my sleep. Xiao Ali wrinkled his nose. Luhan took a bite and asked again, don't you want to know what happened? I don't want to. Ali showed indifference. This kid is really different. Unlike a child is very curious, but he is not, and he does not know if it is because he has experienced too many things. Xiao Ali finished eating a large bowl of noodles with a snort, raised his head to drink the soup, put down the bowl, and whispered to Luhan, I'm leaving. Huh. Luhan was stunned, his eyes flashing. Chapter 0908 _ The Disappearing Alley. Ali left suddenly, most likely to find Tsunade, and Luhan's heart burst into flames. There's trouble here, I don't know how big it is, it's definitely not safe. Xiao Ali whispered again, winking at Luhan, so I'm leaving, do you want to leave? Can you go out? Luhan looked very hesitant. This place is blocked, the main entrances and exits of the village are guarded, and the other places that can go out of the village are mostly open areas, as well as ninja patrols, guard towers. Quote. Don't worry about me, if I want to go out, I can go out naturally, mainly because of you. Xiao Ali said with a smile, would you like to go together? Can you go out? I can't take you with me. Luhan hesitated. The little guy is very confident, but it just feels weird, isn't it? Too enthusiastic. If he wasn't only 9 years old, if he wasn't his own son, Luhan would really doubt whether this guy was going to rob him. Don't be nervous, I won't hurt you. Xiao Ali seemed to see through Luhan's thoughts and comforted him. Luhan thought it was funny, and he didn't know what the hell he was up to. He lowered his voice and said solemnly, well, let's leave together, how are you going? If we can't be together, I'll wait for you outside the village. Ali smiled, stood up immediately, and pointed to the table, can you settle the bill? Luhan nodded. Thank you, Xiao Ali said, and then walked upstairs first. After Luhan settled the bill, he followed him upstairs. On the 7th floor, the door of the guest room was half open. Luhan was leaning against the door to wait for Ali. Ali was packing in the room, but Luhan had nothing to pack because he was used to putting all his daily necessities in his space backpack. Originally, Luhan planned to find the ninja named Polo, and further investigate the poisoning, which was related to his son and Kumogakure village. Luhan still wanted to fully understand the situation. But the son is leaving, and probably to find Tsunade. Luhan naturally wanted to put this matter aside. By the way, Lee, do you know that there is a ninja named Polo in Yihai village? Luhan suddenly asked. In fact, he really wanted to complain. Polo, pineapple, what a bad name. The names of the Kumogakure ninjas in the Country of Thunder are very strange, and the Country of Fire is not a painting style at all. Polo. In the room, Ali, who was packing his luggage, raised his head and glanced at Luhan. You know, Lord Polo. You know. Luhan was surprised. Lee knew him. Yeah, Ali responded. You only came to Yihai village yesterday. You may not have heard of it. I have lived here for a few days. Most of the people in Yihai village know that Mr. Polo is the ninja of Kumogakure village, is said to be the leader of the group of Kumogakure village ninjas in Yihai village, and they are old friends with Akazuki, so they have a good relationship. Quote. Is that so? Luhan replied, but his face was a little wrong. Ali turned out to be the order of the commander of the Kumogakure Special Operations Force stationed in the land of Vortex. I'm fine. Ali appeared at the door with a small burden on his back. Well, do you want to go now? Luhan turned his attention back to Ali, and swept Ali up and down with great interest. Ali's outfit looked like a little warrior. Jinghong the blade was still hanging on Ali's waist. In fact, he was very curious about how Ali would leave Yihai village. Is it by speed? Or an extraordinary stealth skill? Or is it some kind of hidden secret technique of the master? I want to go by myself. I will wait for you at the Yuhi fir tree in the south of the village. Xiao Ali smiled. I will only wait for you for a long time. If you can't come out in a long time, then I will leave. Well, good. Luhan nodded with a smile, the corners of his lips curled up under the shadow of the bucket hat. Then, how do you go? Xiao Ali rolled his eyes, suddenly pushed back a step, and said strangely, I'll make a magic trick for you. Please. Luhan nodded. Ali closed the door directly. He was in the room, Luhan was at the door of the corridor outside the room, and there was a wooden door between them. Luhan quickly locked on Ali's breath, but wanted to see what tricks he played. I guess it just disappeared without a trace. It may be to walk through the window, leaving no trace. Let's go, Xiao Ali shouted from the door. Okay, Luhan responded with a smile. I is gone. Luhan suddenly changed color. Lose the lock. Ali just disappeared. Not just disappearing into the room, not just disappearing into Guweju, but completely disappearing within Luhan's aura perception range. Luhan pushed open the door. The room was really empty and no one was seen. Ali didn't lose his breath, but the person really left. Luhan slowly blinked his eyes twice, not knowing if he should laugh out loud. Before Ali disappeared, although he tried his best to hide his aura, Luhan still sensed it. Ali left with a trace of chakra fluctuations. Luhan was very familiar with these chakra fluctuations, very, very familiar. Haraishin, Luhan murmured. The art of Haraishin. Ali used the technique of Haraishin to escape directly. Luhan really wanted to laugh out loud. Because, Ali is a genius, a super genius. He is only 9 years old this year. Not only master the art of Haraishin. It can even be used purely, otherwise it is impossible to have only such a weak chakra fluctuation. Haraishin's technique is one of Konoha's top secret forbidden techniques. A large part of the reason it is banned is because this technique is too difficult to practice, requires too much talent, and is too difficult to comprehend the attributes of time and space. How talented is Tsunade? How is Orochimaru talented? They didn't practice Haraishin. Why didn't Sarutobi Hiruzen let them practice? Too hard is the main factor. In the original book, After Senju Tobarama created Hiraishin, there was no second ninja master Hiraishin for decades, until Namikaze Minato, a peerless splendor, was born. And even Namikaze Minato, he couldn't become Hiraishin when he was 9 years old. At that time, he was still in ninja school, his talent was not developed, and he was not qualified to connect with Hiraishin. My son, tisk tisk, he's my son. Luhan muttered a few words with a mentally laugh, and then disappeared. Chapter 0909_Strange Symbols. In the north of Yihai village, among the towering towers, Chueiji's mansion. A tall and strong figure with a beard in his late 40s walked back and forth at the door of the wooden building, looking very anxious, his brows furrowed, and he looked uneasy. In the main building just across the door, there is a medical ninja healing someone. The person being treated is Killer Bee, who was severely injured and vomited blood by Luhan last night. Although Killer Bee's injury is only a simple internal injury, it is a physical injury, and it is not difficult to heal, but Killer Bee is a tailed beast. Killer Bee was seriously injured and weakened last night. The suppression of his own chakra on the 8 tails weakened, and the 8 tails began to run wild to impact the seal. This is also the reason why Killer Bee's injury has not been healed. Although it is not life-threatening, the seal of the 8 tails is already showing signs of loosening. This is a big trouble. Lord Polo, a tall and thin Kumogakure ninja appeared out of nowhere, whispering to the tall, bearded figure. Poirot frowned deeper and asked again, "No traces to be traced?" "No," the tall and thin ninja replied. "It was Naro's body that was found." Poirot raised his hand, let the tall and thin ninja back down, and took a few steps back and forth anxiously. His face became more and more ugly, and even the color of fear flashed in his eyes. If Ross was forced to ask what happened before he died, and that person spread the matter out, then he would be dead. Poirot was disturbed. He had realized how serious the repercussions of the revelation of the assassination would be. And until now, he still can't be sure who is taking revenge. It has such terrifying strength. Because of similar assassination incidents, there have been many times. This is the reason why Polo could not determine the target. He did not directly think of Ali, because it was not only Naros who was avenged, but all the team members brought by Naros have been avenged. The Avenger must have undergone a detailed investigation, and must have prepared many geniuses. Which one will it be? Could it be that among those who had been assassinated before, there were big men? Poirot thought about it, suddenly turned around and walked away quickly, returned to his room in the mansion, opened the hidden compartment on the wall, took out a scroll from it, opened the scroll. There are some people's information on it. These people, they are all gamblers, and the information ends with numbers, and those numbers represent money. This is the assassination list. The more he thought about it, the more afraid he became. He wanted to start investigating one by one, starting with the last assassination target, the one who was supposed to be assassinated last night. It was a little boy, only 9 years old, with nearly 30 million taels of money on his body. Fiscal. Polo found a number of cronies and quickly arranged it. Just 10 minutes later, the first trusted confidant who was sent out came back and whispered eagerly to Poirot. Poirot's color suddenly changed when he heard it, his eyes widened. The little boy is missing. He was gone, and so was the samurai who lived in the room next to him. It's them. It's that samurai. It's that samurai who took revenge. Polo seemed to have figured out something. Or he might be guessing at random. Be sure to find them. South of Yihai village, Yuhi's cedar forest. After Xiao Ali appeared out of nowhere, he took out a Hiraishin kunai from behind the stones in the bushes, leaned against the tree to play with kunai, and began to wait. Engraved doodles. He is writing. First wrote, "Fool," then wrote, "Take advantage," and then began to laugh. Do not know who is laughing at. Luhan quietly appeared behind Ali, but Ali didn't notice it. Luhan wanted to scare him, so he leaned over and found the words written by Kuwu on the ground in front of Ali, and the corners of his mouth suddenly became unnatural. Pumped. Fuck. Who is taking the blame? What the hell is this kid thinking? Ali seemed to feel something, so he stood up, turned around and saw Lu Han, startled, then immediately took 2 steps back, rubbed off the words on the ground with his feet, and at the same time put Horaitian into the clothes. In the sleeves, everything was done perfectly, looking at Lu Han with a surprised look. So fast. Just allow you to hurry, but not me. Lu Han replied angrily, looking at Ali with a bad look. I want to hit the child. Ali looked at Lu Han first and became very interested, but he didn't ask anything, because he was also a person with secrets, and he understood the psychology of such people. Let's go. Where are you going? Ali smiled. I came to the country of Vortex for experience. Whatever. What about you? Then let's go. I'm going to White Tide Village. Okay, go to White Tide Village. White Tide Village, the second-ranked trading village in the country of Vortex. The actual controller behind it is the village of Kurigakure in the country of water. Tsunade in White Tide Village. Probably. The 2 guys who also bear the great secret, just hit the road together. Xiao Ali didn't walk fast. Not in a hurry. Lu Han followed, naturally not in a hurry. In this way, the 2 stopped and walked, passing through 17 small villages in a row, and it took 3 days for them to arrive near Baichao village in the south of the land of Vortex. On the path in the forest, Baichao village is already in sight. The 2 people, one big and one small, one tall and one short, walk side by side, and they seem to get along very happily. What are you looking at? Lu Han noticed that Xiao Ali was looking around. Bird, there is a very beautiful bird here. Xiao Ali replied casually. Lu Han smiled. A child is a child, and I don't know what kind of beautiful bird he was talking about. Wouldn't it be Kurigakure's bird ninja beast? Xiao Ali suddenly stopped and looked at a tree by the roadside. His face turned white, and his body trembled. Huh? Lu Han was puzzled and looked up following Ali's gaze. It was a small tree. The diameter of the tree was no larger than the thickness of a plate, and a strange symbol was engraved on the white bark, and under the symbol, there were vaguely engraved characters, which seemed to be the word, Ludu. What's the meaning? Lu Han looked at Ali incomprehensibly, but found that Ali's eyes were circled by Yuhi, and his big eyes were full of tears. What's wrong? Lu Han grabbed Ali's shoulder and asked anxiously. Home, family, is in danger. Xiao Ali pointed to the symbol on the tree and cried out loudly. Chapter 0910 Extremely Dangerous. Ali is very intelligent, and his abilities fully meet the standards of a latent ninja, but he is only a child after all, a 9-year-old child, so at this moment, he cried out loudly, and he seemed very helpless. Lu Han's face changed dramatically. He turned back suddenly to look at the symbol on the tree, then looked at the crying little Ali. The hand holding Ali's shoulder subconsciously clenched, and then he reacted and relaxed. Hand. Ali, don't cry. Tell me, what happened? What happened to your family? Be good. It's all right. I can help you. Can you trust me? Lu Han squatted down, grabbed Ali's shoulders, and spoke to Ali in a quiet voice. Can I trust you? Ali asked while crying. Of course. Although we have only known each other for a few days, we are very destined. We are friends, right? Lu Han smiled. In fact, he was already furious in his heart, but he knew that he couldn't mess up. Woo-woo. Ali was choked up and speechless, as if he didn't know what to say. He has chosen to trust Lu Han. Because he believes in his own talent, he uses his heart to distinguish between good and evil, and he seeks good fortune and avoids evil. He once told Lu Han that he has such ability, which is true. Otherwise, he would have gotten rid of Lu Han long ago, and he would not have been able to stay with Lu Han for so long. What is that? What does it mean? Lu Han couldn't help it in a hurry. He pointed back and asked, that symbol. What does it mean? Yes, I made an agreement with my mother, the sign of the agreement. Before, when my mother went out, she said, if Yihai village is not safe, then, come here. It is not safe here, just. Xiao Ali sobbed and told Lu Han about his agreement with Tsunade, speaking very slowly. Lu Han listened patiently. Since leaving Konoha, Tsunade began to travel around the world with Ali. Because of her gambling and extravagant spending, the legend of Cold Light Treasure appeared in the ninja world, but in the following years, Tsunade encountered few dangers, mainly. It is the ninja world that is peaceful, and the wicked are less courageous. But in recent years, with the outbreak of the Third Ninja World War, the situation has changed. The catastrophe swept the ninja world, and the control of the major ninja villages over the countries was greatly weakened, and there were more and more gangsters. Even ninjas belonging to some decent ninja villages began to secretly dare to loot. Tsunade's troubles are also mounting. For so many years, she has protected her son very well. Except for Konoha, who knows more about Ali, the other forces know very little. They don't even know what Ali looks like. And every time he encountered danger, Tsunade would choose to put Ali in a safe place and not let Ali get involved in these things. The matter of the mark also started after the Third Ninja World War. There are many kinds of signs that she and Ali agreed on, with different meanings, all for the convenience of seeing each other again after separation. Before leaving Yihai village this time, Tsunade told Ali that if there is a problem in Yihai village, go to the next village, which is Baichao village. Wait for Tsunade in Baichao village. If there is a problem in Baichao village, go to the next village. The next agreed village. If there are other changes, it will leave a mark on a tree in the grove in the north of the village. That's why Ali was looking around in the woods before. He wanted to know if Tsunade had left him a sign. Have. And this mark is the first time Tsunade has been activated, and it means, extremely dangerous. Let Ali give up all the previously set moving paths and go directly to Ludu village, for refuge. The word, Ludu, under the sign means the place of refuge. Obviously, Tsunade was in a big trouble that she couldn't solve, and she didn't want to drag her son down because of this, so she left a mark in advance to let Xiao Ali know that by doing this, Tsunade didn't have direct contact with her son, and the enemy would. It is impossible to find Ali because of Tsunade. Konoha village in the land of fire. The village of Konoha has 3 brigades of nearly 500 ninjas stationed there, as well as the Anbu branch. As long as Ali gets there, the Konoha Anbu ninja knows him and will naturally protect him. Maybe even escort him to Konoha if necessary. Not to mention Tsunade's relationship. Ali is the posthumous son of the late Han Guang, and the current captain of Konoha Anbu is a direct disciple who has obtained the true inheritance of Han Guang's swordsmanship. Mom, she is dangerous. She can't solve it. So, that's why. Xiao Ali was still crying after finishing speaking. Lu Han's face was very ugly. He understands Tsunade's temper. After being resurrected, she heard Orochimaru talk about Tsunade, and she had broken up with Sarutobi Hiruzen. If it wasn't for the big trouble, she wouldn't let her son seek Konoha's asylum at all. Lu Han approached the tree and carefully observed the traces on it. The mark was carved with kunai. Judging from the depth of the mark and the change in color, it should have been carved about a day and a half ago, which is too long. Tsunade may have even left the country of Vortex. Is she being hunted down? What should I do? What should I do? Lu Han asked himself a few words, a little dazed. The sea of people is vast, the world is so big, there is no clue to find it. Except for your great luck, it is impossible to find someone. Can I only accompany Ali to Ludu village and wait? Ali has stopped crying, but he is still sobbing, his body is shaking, his eyes are very sad. He is even more at a loss than Lu Han. It was the first time he encountered this situation, he didn't know what to do. Ali, I'm asking you a very serious question, don't lie to me, okay? Lu Han suddenly looked at Ali and said. What? Ali sobbed and asked back. You know the technique of Hiraishin, right? Lu Han asked. Ali's eyes suddenly widened, surprise, suspicion, vigilance and other expressions flashed quickly in his eyes. I'm a ninja, I'm from Konoha. Lu Han said. Yes, it will, Ali admitted. Okay, tell me, Lu Han grabbed Li's shoulder again. Have you put a Horaishin on your mother's body? Chapter 0911 Do you believe me? Horaishin Kanai can't be thrown around. It's too sensitive, and it's not good for people to study it. However, it is a relatively normal thing to put Horaishin Kanai on people around you, partners, and teammates. Because Lu Han did it like this. Tsunade is Ali's mother, and the two are often separated. Will Ali put a Horaishin on his mother? No, no, Ali sobbed and shook his head. I once gave my mother one, but she gave it back to me. She refused to. Lu Han immediately understood Tsunade's thoughts. Obviously, she didn't want her son to appear by her side casually, because then Ali would encounter the same crisis as Tsunade. However, I'm on, little mom, with techniques, yes. Mom doesn't know, so I dare not tell. Elise said again, little mom should, with my mother, in, with. Lu Han was stunned for a moment, then immediately reacted. Mom, naturally it is Hyuga Luo Ning. Ali actually practiced the technique of Horaishin to the point where he can directly leave the technique on people. Lu Han couldn't do it. Can you feel it? Lu Han asked hastily. No, I can't. Ali cried again. If he could sense the Horaishin technique on Hyuga Luo Ning's body, he wouldn't start crying when he saw the mark. Lu Han was overjoyed, and hurriedly asked, how far do you sense the Horaishin technique? 100 kilometers, about the same. Ali said. Not too far. It's very strange. Ali has been able to leave spells on people, but the induction distance of spells is very average, even less than Lu Han, and he doesn't know how he cultivates. 100 kilometers, good. Enough. Lu Han finally gained some confidence. For Horaishin's technique, the sensing distance of 100 kilometers is very ordinary, but the entire country of Vortex is so big. Lu Han only needs to run with Ali at high speed and keep changing directions. As long as Hyuga Luo Ning appears within a radius of 100 kilometers from Ali, he will know immediately. Let's not go to Ludu village, let's go to your mother, okay? And your little mother? Lu Han asked. Okay, okay. Ali nodded again and again, and asked with some uncertain sobbing, do you really want to help me? It's very, very dangerous. In fact, this is a tactful question. Meaning, why are you helping me? I know who your mother is. Actually, I know your mother and you. Lu Han explained it casually, then took a few steps back and quickly hand-sealed. Spiritual. Bang! The top of Lu Han's head exploded with white smoke, and the furry little guy appeared on top of Lu Han's head, crawling on the hat, with a flower in his mouth, and he didn't know what it was doing before being channeled. Shadow cat. No accident? Lu Han asked quickly. Meow. The shadow cat called out. It means nothing. If there is, it will speak human words. How long will it take you to get back to Konoha from here? Lu Han asked again. Shadow cat shook its tail, as if it was doing spatial positioning, and meowed twice before saying, half an hour. Godly speed. It is the true time-space ability of the master. It does not need to leave anything like a spell in advance, it just moves out of thin air. Although the distance of one move is not as high as Horaishin's limit, it can completely teleport continuously again and again. Okay. Lu Han nodded. You give up the mission about Nohara Rin first. Go back to Konoha immediately, and tell Orochimaru that Tsunade is in a life-and-death crisis in the country of vortices, and then ask Orochimaru to inform Anbu Captain Hataki Teishuo, and ask Hataki Teishuo to send Anbu ninjas come to the country of Vortex. Remember to ask Orochimaru to show you Tsunade's portrait, and Hyuga Luo Ning. You tell Orochimaru will give you. In an hour, I will channel you over here again. Understand? Meow. Shadow cat responded. Go. The shadow cat disappeared out of thin air. Although this guy Suinder let it speak human words, it has not changed after repeated teachings, but the task execution ability is extremely reliable. After Lu Han finished speaking, he looked at Ali. Ali had already looked at Lu Han with a stunned expression, and took a few steps back. He was completely stunned, because he didn't say who his mother was, but Lu Han accurately said Tsunade's name and Hyuga Luo Ning's name. Conspiracy. Smart people just think too much, and Ali feels that he has been tricked, because he already understands that from the first moment the warrior named Ghost Sees Sorrow contacts him, he knows his identity. I don't have time to explain, Lu Han said to Ali, and then hand sealed again. Secret art, even dress-up art. Bang! There was a flash of white smoke on Lu Han's body, and all the samurai costumes were replaced, and he was put on a ninja costume, black robe, black mask, dark yuhi-colored belt, black leather boots, and kunai, shuriken and other items hanging around his waist. However, there is no main battle weapon. No long knife. You, who are you? Why are you approaching me? You. Ali took a few steps back in succession, Horaitian slipped out of his sleeve, and he felt that his brain was not enough. Still too young. Lu Han looked at Ali, and a look of love flashed in his eyes under the mask. If he explained the resurrection to Ali, it would be a very, very complicated process. His own father, so he ran away directly. He ran away, and Lu Han really couldn't catch up. Because this little guy will be Horaitian. Therefore, in order to avoid trouble, Lu Han did not plan to prove his identity. Do you believe me? Lu Han asked. You. Ali didn't know whether to believe it or not. For the first time, he questioned his ability to seek good and avoid evil, but, thinking about it from another angle, it might not be the case. Wrong. Lu Han just arranged Shadowcat to inform Orochimaru and Hatake Taishuo, and Ali can see it. You have to know. Lu Han spoke again, and half of his words disappeared out of thin air. At the same time, Ali felt a tap on the shoulder, and then Lu Han's voice sounded behind him. If I want to hurt you, you are already dead. Ali's eyes widened in shock, he really didn't have time to react. Chapter 0912-Restitution. Ali is confident in his own strength, and even a little conceited, because even Tsunade can't do the previous scene. For Ali, who has a strong reaction awareness to pervert Master Horaitian's technique, even when he is on face-to-face mental vigilance, he is still attacked by others. A pat on the shoulder, really incredible. Who is this person? He is really powerful. Stronger than Mother. Very likely. Ali turned to look at Lu Han, who ran behind him, and stopped crying. His big eyes blinked, and the eyes looking at Lu Han gradually became eager, the kind of eyes that caught the life-saving straw. Do you believe me? Lu Han asked the same question again. Believe. I believe you. Ali nodded again and asked eagerly, can you save my mother? You can, right? Of course, and it's not just me. Orochimaru will probably come to the country of Vortex in person when he hears the news. Anbu's side should also increase the number of people. There will be many people who will come to save your mother. She will be fine, trust me. Lu Han comforted Shaoli. In fact, those people can't expect too much, because it will take 2 or 3 days to get from Konoha to the territory of the country of Vortex. After 2 or 3 days, everything may be too late. Induction, and the search of the Shadow Cat. Lu Han asked Shadow Cat to notify, just to increase his bargaining power in saving Tsunade. Perhaps, even if no one rescues Tsunade, Tsunade may get out of this crisis, and it is not the first time that Tsunade has escaped from the dead, but Lu Han can't bet. You can't pin your hopes on the possibility, you must do your best. One more thing. Lu Han extended his hand to Ali, lend me your knife, lend me. Ali was stunned for a moment, and subconsciously put his hand on the hilt of the sword of astonishment that was lying across his lower back. He was very hesitant and struggling. He chose to trust Lu Han, but he didn't want to borrow the knife. What's wrong? Lu Han asked. Since you know who I am, then do you know who this knife is? Ali asked. I know, your father Hangwang's, that is the sword of Jinghong. Lu Han said. Since you know, Ali was still hesitant, took the knife off his waist, held it without letting go and thought about it, finally bit Kiba, looked at Luhan and said, I can lend it to you, but you can give it back to me later. Don't break it, I will definitely repay you after I find my mother, but you are not allowed to ask for this knife. On the issue of borrowing his father's relics and saving his mother, Xiao Ali chose to compromise. Good boy, I promise. Luhan said, hooking Ali. Ali dawdled, touched the knife again, and then handed it to Luhan. Return to the original owner. Picking up the sword of Jinghong again, I don't know if it was an illusion or something. Luhan felt the blade of Jinghong vibrate slightly. It seemed very pleasant. Is the sword of astonishment conscious? In theory, there can be. Because the blade of Jinghong, which sells for as high as 600 ingots, is the highest rare weapon. Unlike other rare weapons, such as the blade of Kurigakure that Luhan gave to Hitachi Taishuo, the blade of Jinghong can evolve. In theory, spirituality can be born, just like the shark muscle in the original book, which is spirituality and wisdom. Luhan probed the chakra into the blade of Jinghong, and found that it was empty and did not store the energy required by Jinghong Peerless World. But I don't know why Ali didn't store chakra in it. Konoha village, the noisy middle street is bustling with people coming and going, it is very lively. The little black cat was crawling on the windowsill on the second floor of the noodle restaurant, with its tail drooping, looking very unhappy, and the whole cat seemed extremely unmotivated. Just half an hour ago, Shadow Cat picked up a little yuhi flower from somewhere, and in a very tsundere way, gave the little yuhi flower to the little black cat, but the little black cat just politely refused. The Shadow Cat disappeared. It's been half an hour and I haven't come back yet. Stingy, cheapskate, nasty guy, not sincere at all, muttered the little black cat. There are many customers on the second floor of the noodle restaurant. At the table in the corner of the back side, 13-year-old Hitachi Kakashi and Nohara Rin are eating. The little black cat is crawling on the windowsill. It seems boring, but it is actually staring at Nohara Rin. There was a new guest at the entrance of the stairs. It was a handsome young man with yellow hair and imposing manner. The little black cat knew him. This guy was named Namikaze Minato. Teacher, here. Hitachi Kakashi and Nohara Rin excitedly waved to Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato raised his hand to signal that he saw it, and suddenly noticed the little black cat out of the corner of his eye, so he made a gesture, walked to the window first, and said to the little black cat with a smile, why are you the only one, that little guy? This guy is coming close again. Annoying. The little black cat glanced at Namikaze Minato with disgust and turned his head away. Namikaze Minato is a little embarrassed. Konoha, these two ninja cats are already special existences. No one dares to mess with them, because behind them is Orochimaru, one of Sannin. Call. The purple little guy suddenly appeared beside the little black cat. The little black cat first wagged his tail with joy, and then put down his tail very reservedly, and squinted at the shadow cat, with a very unhappy old lady. At this time, the shadow cat was holding a pink flower in its mouth. Seeing the little black cat like this, he decisively turned his head and spit it out, meowing a lot, and then disappeared again. The little black cat was in a hurry and turned to look outside the street. What's wrong? What does it say? Namikaze Minato asked curiously, who didn't understand cat language. He's gone, it's urgent, it may take a few days to come back. The little black cat said in frustration. Hokage building. Just after the meeting was over, the ruthless Orochimaru walked in the corridor without saying a word, and did not have any communication with other high-level Konoha and top ninjas who were walking out. He was such a character. Other side of the corridor, Sarutobi Hiruzen was walking in the opposite direction to Orochimaru, because he was going back to the Hokage office, and Orochimaru was leaving the Hokage building. Both Hitachi Taishuo and Jiraiya followed Sarutobi Hiruzen, whispering something. Call. The shadow cat suddenly appeared above Orochimaru's head out of thin air. Orochimaru shot like lightning and habitually grabbed it above his head. Chapter 0913 _ I have a clear conscience. Orochimaru hates Shadow Cat scratching his hair very much, but Shadow Cat always kills, if not because Shadow Cat is a cold ninja, or because it can blink infinitely, it may already be a dead cat. And this time, Orochimaru still didn't catch the Shadow Cat. The Shadow Cat flickered on Orochimaru's shoulder, and then squatted on Orochimaru's ear, and said in a very low voice, "Master, let me tell you." This scene is hilarious, because it looks like Orochimaru, who walks coldly, has a little milk cat hanging from his ear. But no one dared to laugh, and other Konoha executives saw it and ignored the scene. Orochimaru stopped abruptly, his pupils shrank violently, and after the Shadow Cat had finished speaking to him, he appeared on top of Orochimaru's head again, shook his tail, got down, and started playing with Orochimaru's hair with his little paws. Orochimaru doesn't care about that anymore, he's all about Tsunade. The Orochimaru of Konoha's 47th year is still very fond of feelings. In fact, even if it is the Orochimaru of Konoha's 60-year-old in the original book, it is not that the six relatives do not recognize each other. Orochimaru is not an expressive person, and since Tsunade left Konoha, he has only met Tsunade twice and said no more than 10 words. However, he still regards Tsunade as his best friend, as well as Jiraiya. Sanin's friendship is still in the world. Even if the person who sent him the letter was not Hongguang, his temporary allegiance, as long as he knew something happened to Tsunade, he would definitely help solve it as much as possible. No front. Orochimaru suddenly turned around and called out, raising his eyebrows. Anbu's code name, Wu Feng, is the current captain of Konoha Anbu, Hotake Taishuo. The other end of the corridor, Hotake Taishuo, who was talking to Sarutobi Hiruzen in a low voice, turned his back, glanced at Orochimaru, then made a, "Wait a moment," gesture to Orochimaru, and then turned around and said a few words to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya also turned around and glanced at Orochimaru. The former continued to tell Hotake Taishuo something, while the latter had a strange look, wondering why Orochimaru had something wrong with Hotake Taishuo. Jiraiya stepped on her feet, her figure flashed, she walked through most of the corridor and appeared directly beside Orochimaru. "What's wrong?" Looking for him all of a sudden. The tall Jiraiya raised her elbows and placed her elbows on Orochimaru's shoulders, and grinned in an unorthodox manner. In the whole of Konoha, he was probably the only one who dared to treat Orochimaru so casually. Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya, then looked at Hotake Taishuo, and said indifferently, "Wait for him to come over, let's talk together." "Huh," Jiraiya said in surprise, "it has something to do with me." "Related," Orochimaru replied coldly. "Really relevant." Although Luhan didn't let him inform Jiraiya, Orochimaru must have told Jiraiya. After all, it was Tsunade who had the accident. He finally finished speaking. Hotake Taishuo, who was wearing a mask, sent Sarutobi Hiruzen upstairs. When Sarutobi Hiruzen disappeared on the stairs, he turned around, glanced at Orochimaru, and appeared directly beside Orochimaru. "Is something wrong?" Hotake Taishuo said indifferently. At this time, there was no one else in the corridor, and all the ninjas who had attended the meeting were gone. "But this is the Hokage building, there is a secret post," Orochimaru glanced out the window and said. The outside said. Not long after, outside the Hokage building, a grove. "Tsunade is in trouble in the country of Vortex, it's very dangerous, maybe." Orochimaru explained the situation to the two. In fact, he didn't know much, and the cold light that Shadow Cat relayed was not too clear. But Orochimaru understands that Hongguang is in the country of the Vortex. With Hongguang's strength, if he can solve it, he will definitely not inform Konoha. This matter cannot be easily solved by Hongguang, so you can imagine the trouble. Tsunade is definitely life-threatening. After hearing this, Jiraiya punched the tree with an ugly face. "You bastard. I told her to come back, but she didn't listen." After speaking, she immediately said, "When are we leaving?" "Wait." Jiraiya glanced at Jiraiya, then at Hotake Taishuo, can you mobilize more Anbu ninjas to the country of Vortex? I don't know where Tsunade is, you have to find her first. Although I can do this, I need the consent of Lord Hokage. Hatake Tai Shuo said. What if you don't tell him? No. Tsunade is your mistress. I understand, but I can't mess around. You say that, do you think you are worthy of the cold light? I have a clear conscience. Both of them spoke coldly, their emotions hardly fluctuated, but they said the smell of gunpowder. Orochimaru is actually very annoyed. He doesn't understand why Hatake Tai Shuo is obedient to Sarutobi Hiruzen. He doesn't dare to have the slightest disobedience to mobilize Anbu ninja without permission. It was just a few reprimands, after all, it was to save Tsunade. In order to save Tsunade, he didn't even want to take the responsibility of being reprimanded. If Hangguang is still alive, he will be very chilled if you are like this. Orochimaru said coldly. If the teacher lives to this day, who would dare to hurt the wife? Hatake Tai Shuo replied uncompromisingly. Don't make noise, don't make noise. Jiraiya saw that the atmosphere was not right, and hurriedly made a round. Let's go to the teacher together and explain the situation to him. It's really not good, just me and Orochimaru. Orochimaru does not believe in Sarutobi Hiruzen. Because he knows Sarutobi Hiruzen's character and style too well. Now is the period of the War of the Ninja World. Will Sarutobi Hiruzen, who has a great view of the overall situation, really mobilize the elite of Konoha to save people for a ninja who has quit Konoha? Even if this ninja world is her direct disciple, will he? Few minutes later, Hokage's office. Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Hatake Taishuo III stood at the table. Sarutobi Hiruzen tapped the table with his fingers lightly, listening to Orochimaru explain about Tsunade's distress in the country of Vortex. Sarutobi Hiruzen listened with a gloomy face and did not speak for a while. He didn't ask how Orochimaru got the information, and Orochimaru didn't make it clear what kind of danger Tsunade had encountered. But Sarutobi Hiruzen had already guessed what happened. Tsunade has been in distress many times in recent years, all for the same reason. Because of the treasure of cold light. Chapter 0914 Conditions of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Only Konoha Master has the most information about Tsunade, because Konoha is Tsunade's hometown. Except for the juvenile ninja who grew up in recent years, almost all other Konoha ninjas know Tsunade, and Anbu has never given up collecting information about Tsunade's whereabouts. In Shinobi Village, there are very few ninjas who have seen Tsunade. They have all heard of Tsunade's name, but they don't know what she looks like. Tsunade is 37 years old this year, but he looks less than 20 years old, which is why other shinobi villages have difficulty mastering Tsunade's information. As a Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen has naturally read all the information about Tsunade, especially in recent years. Sarutobi Hiruzen has always hoped that Tsunade can contribute the treasure of cold light, so he pays more attention to Tsunade than before. It seemed that other than the matter of the cold light treasure, no one else dared to provoke Tsunade. There is not enough interest. Moving Tsunade is like poking a hornet's nest, and even if there is enough interest, if the news leaks, it will be cruelly retaliate. Others don't know how much Hangguang's treasure is, but Sarutobi Hiruzen knows it after careful investigation. It is conservatively estimated to be more than 1.5 billion taels. Even if those gems that are too expensive are removed, Tsunade should have them. Master has at least 700 million taels. Seriously, even Konoha doesn't have that much money. And the ninja war is very expensive. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent. In a short time, he thought about a lot. What he was thinking about now was not what would happen if Tsunade died, but what kind of crisis it would cause if the money fell into the hands of others after Tsunade died. How much damage to Konoha, how much threat to Konoha. Teacher, you don't need too many people. Jiraiya couldn't help it, patted the table anxiously, and said eagerly, it's too late. The news came from the country of Vortex, it will take some time to get there, teacher. Let's decide. Quote. Orochimaru stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a cold expression. Jiraiya has already said what he should say. Hitachi Taishuo stood by calmly, waiting for Sarutobi Hiruzen's order. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his head and glanced at the three people. One was his most trusted Captain Anbu, and the other two were his direct disciples. The strength of the three ranked in the top 5 of Konoha, second only to him and Namikaze Minato. And Namikaze Minato, a disciple of Jiraiya. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen is assertive, he has to listen to some important opinions, so considering the overall situation and listening to the opinions of important people are also part of the overall situation. Shadow Cat was still crawling on top of Orochimaru's head, looking lazily and yawning. You also know that we are at a disadvantage in the war with Iwagakure village. Amegakure village and Sunagakure village are also waiting for an opportunity. The situation is very unfavorable for us. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke slowly. Orochimaru turned around and left. He doesn't want to hear it. Listen to me. Sarutobi Hiruzen patted the table and stood up, staring at Orochimaru. Orochimaru stopped, paused, turned around to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen, and said coldly, "Teacher, do you want to send someone or not?" "I can send people. I can send more people, but it must be good for Konoha." Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru gloomily. Tsunade has left Konoha. She no longer cares about Konoha's life or death. Ninjas fight enemies, and she's right next to her, and she doesn't even take a second look. She has left the ninja world. Tsunade is my disciple. Yes, I grew up watching her, but she can't compare to Konoha. 10,000 people, do you understand? What do you mean? Orochimaru asked. Saving her must be in Konoha's favor. Sarutobi Hiruzen repeated. Orochimaru understood a little, and Jiraiya and Hitachi Taishuo also understood. Conditions. Orochimaru said simply. I need you, and you, to persuade her to go back to Konoha. You can take this as a condition, and if you don't feel confident, then there's nothing I can do. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a serious face. Konoha needs her. When she comes back, we can save her. This condition seems to be fine. In fact, even Orochimaru and Jiraiya always wanted Tsunade to return to Konoha. We can, teacher, we can, Jiraiya said quickly. Orochimaru's expression moved slightly, but he didn't expect Sarutobi Hiruzen to care whether Tsunade returned to Konoha or not. I have another condition. Sarutobi Hiruzen's voice was heavy, and his eyes glanced at Jiraiya and Orochimaru. If your persuasion fails, if she refuses to come back, she still hates me, I understand. But, I hope she can lend money to Konoha. I think you know what I mean. Konoha needs more money to win this war. Quote. Really open the sunroof to speak brightly. A sneer flashed deep in Orochimaru's eyes. Look up Sarutobi Hiruzen. And, Sarutobi Hiruzen is also for money. He is also for the legendary treasure of cold light. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen is for Konoha, but his hypocrisy, his reason for beating around the bush, makes Orochimaru disgusted. It's a very clever word to borrow money, as if Konoha could pay it back. With Tsunade's temperament, if she was really saved by the Konoha ninja, she gave money to stop someone's mouth and not owe Sarutobi Hiruzen's kindness.